There we are. I guess I kind of moved it over just a teeny little bit.
That's
but
fine.
Whatever, it works.
All right.
Oh, you guys look like you're on videotape.
Well, basically, yeah. I mean, it's just
It looks,
this webcam.
it's
And
kind
the
of
lights
awesome,
are a little
actually.
dim in here.
It's okay. It's got to keep it cool in here. It's chilled.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. So
to the fourth annual My Life in Gaming DF Retro crossover live stream, and also the final live stream from this room.
That's right. This is it. This is the final day, right?
Yep.
That's wild.
And this room is done.
Wild.
We close on a new house tomorrow, and then we
So
start
you're
moving.
going to start deconstructing.
Yes.
I mean, to look at it now, it doesn't look like you're buying a new house tomorrow.
Yes. Well, I mean, we are. Yeah. I mean, that's
but I mean, everything just looks business as usual in there.
Well,
yeah,
to an extent. I mean, there's things off to the side that the kitchen is kind of in disarray.
The thing is, though, like recently, I think Metal Jesus moved house.
Right.
So how could you not?
I know.
I'm going to keep up.
Yeah. Once I heard he was moving, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do now. So this is something that Tri suggested a long time ago. Said, well, why don't you guys? Because we always do a comparison stream. John's very good, like way better than I could ever be, like picking out stuff, telling us how stuff works and how why it looks the way it does or runs the way it does. And Tri said, why don't you do Turok? And John was very into that.
It's a good choice because you're not really familiar with this game, so we can kind of guide you through it. And also, I think it's an extremely interesting game from a gameplay standpoint, and just like in terms of what it would mean going forward, as we'll discuss.
Right.
So yeah, let's get started here.
It's a game I've always had a soft spot for. I've not played terribly much of it myself.
You can't hit one bird with Turok, by the way. It's not possible. Can't be done. But yes.
Do you need to change? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got two switches down there without Joy-Cons.
I know. That's how I worked it out. Yep.
All right. So let's go to start game first and jump in here.
All right.
I kind of love how similar the title screens are there.
Wait, is that Audie? Audie's there. Look.
Oh, Akuma. Yeah, he's a mod too. All right. So I'm just gonna. Oh, look.
Okay, so we're gonna start in the same place. So.
I'm guessing John is going to be playing N64.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured Coury would not be happy playing N64.
So first,
oh wow, it has gyro.
Oh, that's right. So first, let's talk as we begin. Let's talk about what makes this game interesting from a gameplay perspective, and that this is essentially like a prototype to Metroid Prime in many ways. So some of the team members that worked at Iguana during this period at Acclaim, after Turok 2, they would go on to join what would become Retro Studios, along with other people, of course. So basically, while it doesn't have like the power-up system and whatnot as Metroid Prime, and it's a simplified take on that, it does feature a series of environments that you explore that require backtracking, and you'll find objects that unlock passages in other areas, and you kind of spend a lot of time going back and around through the level in an interesting way. And so it has
some prototype like jumping, like
and it's also heavy on platforming, which once you learn how to do it, it's quite easy. But I understand why people struggle, because the controls, people complain about these, and I get it, but really what they've done is they simply present dual analog style controls here.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the C buttons just act as what would normally be the left stick, and then the analog stick looks around like the right stick would in a modern game, right? So you can strafe and do all that, and when jumping, the trick is to kind of look towards the ground and then jump using that. So you're kind of simulating... So the reason I mentioned Metroid Prime is simply because team members that worked on this went on to work on Metroid Prime, but I do agree that Power Slave was kind of like the real precursor of this style of first-person adventure. I did a whole video on that as well.
Yeah, that's what for love of the game with his
what is that?
$2. Thank you very much.
Donates it.
Oh, that's right. Yes, but yes, Power Slave.
Oh, the stream tag is like incredible. Super big. Hang on. I didn't realize that was going to be the stream. That sticker was going to be so big.
Got to adjust it.
But yeah,
man, Power Slave, Exhumed.
when you did your video on Turok,
Yeah.
which was that was several years ago, like well before the HD version.
No, it wasn't. I did my Turok video was back in July.
Didn't you do one like a couple of years ago though? Didn't you? Oh no! What was it a video about something?
He did Power Slave.
I did Power Slave a while ago. Check out
But
this
did you?
lens flare, by the way.
So what was Turok involved
See, look what they've done on
in
Switch.
Power Slave video then?
What's that? What about?
Oh, I see.
You definitely covered Turok.
Oh, I discussed Turok in the Power Slave video. That's right.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, because that definitely was what re-sparked my interest in Turok. Like I remember watching friends play it back in the day, and I was always like, "Well, it's interesting," but you know, like at the time, I wasn't really that interested in playing first-person shooters for myself. But it was fun to watch.
I totally get that, but actually, the lens flare thing, I discussed that in the video, but the way they had to, that was actually a really complex effect to simulate.
So they just removed it completely in this, it looks like.
So I think they were trying to work on adding it back in. Maybe it's not on the Switch version yet, but it uses some really weird like method for reading the distance like from the camera view, so which didn't translate well in the new engine. But either way, yes. So
that's kind of crazy that they would spend so much time on that though.
Yeah.
For something so minor.
So the reason is the Xbox and PC versions of this have more advanced, like sort of a lens, like God rays, which are not in this Switch version. So beyond the actual game, the level design, the actual feel of play in this game is great. Like you see the animation, it's very snappy. The way the weapons animate when you shoot a guy, the way he sort of snaps back, it feels good to play. Like in a way that a lot of first-person shooters from this era did not.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the camera movement, everything about it just feels good still, I feel.
Did first-person shooters on N64
there's like quite a dead zone on
regularly target 30 frames per second? Or was that pretty... I mean, obviously I know GoldenEye and Perfect Dark very much did not. But I'm not sure about other things like Quake or Doom or anything like that.
No, we're monitoring the chat over here as well, guys. Don't worry. Coury set up a separate monitor just to view the chat.
Yeah, y'all are probably better at monitoring it than I am right now.
Oh, you're there. You stay where you're at. Yeah. So you see where you're at, Coury? That's a new section. That doesn't exist on N64.
Really? Whoa, we got a $25 donation from James Walter.
Wow,
thank you so much. Jeez, thank you.
So where did you, if you go back to where you entered that room?
It's right after that area. Try, do you want to read that?
Yeah. He says, thank you, MLiG, for everything you guys do. And John, you sir are an absolutely awesome dude. I love everything you and the boys do on DF. Also, your guest feature on the Kane and Rinse console specials are a total pleasure.
Oh, I love those. Yeah. Okay, so you're there. Turn around. Well, this is interesting in terms of what they did for this version of the game. I'll go back there as well.
Should I feel guilty if I kill the deer?
No.
Okay.
Easy ammo or health.
They just drop good stuff.
You see this big tree here? Now let's turn right. And if we go straight through here, you'll see I come up to this like sort of empty wall area. There's nothing here, right? Turn left down this tunnel. To the left. Yep, go this way. Now look what happens. You come out to that big area and look where I'm at.
Is that just right over here?
Like it's not there at all. Like it's just this like little valley section.
Right. Well, how do they connect them? Is it just like bringing out right here, or that version? Does it like if you go around the corner? Is it like right here? I mean, where do they resume how close the levels are, or is it completely original from this point?
No. As soon as you get through this next part, it goes back to the resuming. And I guess we should note, somebody mentioned this looks like a remake. This isn't really a remake. It's just like the idea of the developers working on these projects at Night Dive is to sort of restore the game to the best possible form using the original graphics. So they're not here to enhance the visuals per se, just like very slight improvements. Like there's an option to increase the draw distance, and you can see the fog is much less thick on Switch.
To what extent was the N64 version and the PC version used as the basis for the new version?
So the N64 version kind of served as the basis. The PC version is pretty flawed, as I covered in my video, and I know that Kaiser, one of the lead developers on this, was not a fan of that version. It has a lot of flaws. But this Switch version runs on what's known as the Kex engine, which is like a series of tools and technologies designed to like allow these older games to run. Well, sort of. It's okay. You're going into one of the bonus areas. I'm just going to keep progressing forward.
For love of the game, was another $2. Just to point out that no one actually said Power Slavania.
Oh, I like that.
And I'll do that to correct, make a correction for that. I was actually editing my my Bloodstained segment for the end of the year video earlier today. So maybe I should have said Power Slavania in that.
You can go and re-record it. Really quick, I want to I know that about the $25 donation. He mentioned something about the feature, your guest feature on the Cane and Rinse console specials.
Yeah.
I'm not. What it even is?
Cane and Rinse. They do an awesome podcast. They've been doing it for a long time actually, and I was a guest on there for some console episodes they did.
Really?
They're from the UK. So.
You guest on so many different podcasts. Like you used to be on Back in My Play all the time.
Oh yeah, except for he hasn't done that in a while due to the obligations, I guess, from the gym. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one too.
I saw we had a $2 donation from Ben Brody saying he asked earlier if we had a jolly Christmas.
Yeah, and, I would say so.
Indeed, we did.
Mostly, except for I think Coury and I both got sick.
Yeah,
we both had colds during that period. But other than that, it wasn't too bad.
Well, and you both had birthdays. I mean, that has to make up for it to some extent.
Yeah, I didn't realize. We had talked about it before, but I always forget. I guess when that John's birthday is the day after mine.
Now I can. Take
okay. So I thought you guys had the same birthday, but John has the same birthday as my mom. Then
the 27th.
Yep, that's right.
Dustin Kramer saying that my holiday beard has been positively tumescent. Is that what it is? Is that I've never seen that word before.
That might be a new vocab word for me.
I like it.
Yeah, what does it mean?
You notice like in certain areas, like see how it's like kind of takes on this like reddish hue now because you're around lava.
Yeah. I'm like falling way behind you. Sorry.
Wow, that's nice to hear from Cyberleaf. I'm happy that we could have any kind of an effect like that. Oh man, I'm doing terrible right now.
It's a pretty good name too, Cyberleaf. I think a Cyber Sled.
Oh, so as far as who's playing which version, I'm playing on N64. Coury is playing on the Switch.
Because Coury is scared of N64 controls.
Well, it's not that I'm scared of it. It's just that I wouldn't be able to do it any kind of justice in this situation, probably.
It was the right choice to divide the duties.
Look, there is a lot of platforming. Look at this.
Yeah, it's fun.
You almost think you can't make that jump, and I guess
you can.
I mean, the weird thing is it's hard to really articulate what it is about the platforming that works, like with this and Metroid Prime, but it does, like especially in Metroid Prime, it does not feel difficult at all.
I mean, it's a pretty gutsy choice for them to do that at this time.
What I really like about Turok, I think, is that how good the camera movement feels. There's something about the view bob and the way the camera moves.
There's a heavy turn, which
feels really
I could see some people not liking.
I love it though. I think this game feels really interesting, and it has enough enough auto aim that it's not really, you don't need like the super precise kind of aiming. So since the controls aren't as precise as you might like I'm gonna drink the key now. Here we go. It's delicious.
The N64 was
keys.
I mean, you would have a better sense of this than I would, but I feel like the N64 was maybe the last time that a console released where the games that it was able to produce were early on, like there was a lot of things you could do on it, or things that you would see on it that would not be particularly common on PC.
No, it was the same with PlayStation 2, though. There was a lot of stuff going on there due to its high fill rate that you didn't see on PC for a couple of years.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I guess, like in terms of Turok specifically, like what were some of the technical features in this game that were not really in like sort of the cutting edge FPS games at the time?
So first of all, Turok did show up on PC like a year after it came out on N64 or so.
Right.
I don't recall the exact time, but I mean the main thing about Turok was that it had really smooth animation and nice, and of course because it was designed for 64, you had filtered textures as the default, and a lot of cool pyrotechnic effects. So it was really just the combination of all those elements that made it look really smooth and fluid.
I like all the save slots you get.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Oh, we got $5 from Sean J saying thanks for the help figuring out my FrameMeister.
Oh.
Yeah, the lack of 3D standard. I think I discussed this in my Shadows of the Empire video. Did you see that try?
I did see.
That's right. We discussed that. You saw how if you had a Voodoo card, it was great. But if you were running just about any other 3D graphics card back then, you were going to have a bad time. And
didn't you say it was like the first game to not support software-based rendering at all?
I don't know. I don't think it was the first game. I think it was one of the early ones, though. Like Turok is an example of another game that didn't support software rendering. And it's basically anything ported from N64 was not going to have software rendering because they were designed for things like texture filtering. I love this multicolor effect when you get the invincibility and everything slows down.
Do you feel what would you feel is like an example of a first person shooter done right on like the PS1? I mean, obviously there's Power Slave, but I know you prefer the Saturn version.
Well, the PS1 version of Doom is really good.
Great. It has a really
but Doom is like kind of interesting in that it doesn't actually have like vertical aiming, so I feel like that could work reasonably well on like a standard PlayStation controller.
Yeah, before we continue, somebody's talking about Half-Life versus Turok, and it's not such an apples and oranges thing where you can say, oh, this one is more advanced than the other. There's certain things that Turok is designed to do, visual effects, that don't really work in software. Like, it's just, if you want to keep the same style of visuals, you need to do it with a 3D accelerator card. It's not that, like, Half-Life's actual, like, maps and complexity and what you can do with the engine, it's more complicated than Turok, but it's not as, it doesn't require some of the things going on here. And also the use of fog, like, actually,
I thought that
is advanced. Like, that was not an easy thing to do in the sense that a lot of PC graphics cards didn't do a good job with fog, and like doing fog properly was, oh man, I missed that again, was not easy, and a lot of PC cards didn't support it properly. 3DFX did. Yes, Disruptor from Insomniac Games is excellent.
I didn't realize that was their game.
And yeah, I mentioned it earlier that some of the Turok crew did end up working on Metroid Prime. That's right. But yeah, Disruptor.
Ben, we've got a $5 from Ben Brody. I know you're not a regular streams due to time zone differences, John. But Ben Brody is a regular donator, and he regularly asks us some multiple $million questions. And,
nice.
And today we've got he asked, would we take $80 million, but anytime you see your own reflection, you have to take a laxative pill? You have an unlimited supply of pills and you can't overdose. So I'm guessing that means you have special pills that you won't go over topped out. I mean, I don't know if that sounds necessarily that horrible.
I'm not sure about this.
I'm going to say that that like a video image of yourself does not count, even if it's a live image, because there will be some slight delay there anyway. Like it has to be like a true polished mirror reflection of yourself, I would say, and that would be relatively easy to
So we got
like seeing yourself, period. Like I couldn't do my job.
So okay, earlier I saw Audie commented, he mentioned PO'd, and I actually do like that game, even though it's deeply flawed.
There's been 2 donations. Try if you want to shoot.
Oh,
See, I know there's one
geez.
from Gaming Blows. Is definitely going to be about 3 donations.
And James Walter there mentions Life Force Tenka on PlayStation, and yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't love the level design in it, but it's a cool game. And I also think some. Oh no, I know about the Woodies. That's
We got
horrific.
we got $4.99 from Gaming Blows. He says, "Dream Team stream, guys. Don't let Ben Brody talk to John. He's gonna traumatize."
He's gonna drink
Now with
this
that
tea
out of the way,
instead.
get John on Prism right now. Have you ever played Prism on
like the Dark Unicorn?
Chapter
Isn't
1?
that for PS2?
Yes. So
I've heard it's
Gaming
fun.
Blows like donated money to the stream, like very slowly over the course of a night, saying that he really
Yeah.
wanted us to play Prism, and then I found it at a place for like, I don't know, like $7 or something like
Okay.
that. So I bought it, and I finally got around to streaming it, and it was like our most popular stream that I think we've ever had. Somehow, I mean, it
What?
was
Really?
yeah.
He knows how to pick them then.
We got $5 for the love of the game, saying, "Have you seen XL2's Saturn FPS demos? He's the Sonic Z stream guy. 30 FPS, color dynamic lighting, 3D
Yeah.
transparencies, 3D view modes. It's 3D view models. It's
That stuff's
amazing."
fantastic.
Oh, you got the map here.
And yes, Crazy Ivan or Crazy Ivan.
You mean Onacho?
Oh, Nacho.
We always called it Onacho because like the Russian writing on this art that's on the disc, it says Onacho. So that's like what we just called the game. We used to make fun of it because there's like the running demo is just like the computer's like shooting at rocks.
Oh,
whole time.
wow.
There was also $5 from James Walter saying, "Have you guys played Life Force Tinka on PS1 by Psygnosis?
Yeah,
I
I
always
mentioned that
thought it was a
before.
pretty solid FPS on the system."
Yeah. I saw that before I mentioned it. It's quite an interesting game. Like, it's visually impressive. I think the level design is a bit dull, but it's a cool thing. And also earlier, I think somebody mentioned Alien Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And that is super impressive on the PS1. I think Audie played it with me.
Is that another? It's a first person.
It's a first-person shooter that's dual analog stick at a time when dual analog wasn't really a thing.
That's huge.
And it's made by Argonaut. So
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
So is it better than Alien Trilogy? Because that was first person also.
It's
I think.
totally different game. But yes, that was also first person.
I see there was also this $5 from Mr. Sadface asking something about the Woody song, which I assume that's what John was talking about earlier.
The Woodies.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about that, but
Oh yeah, and Jumping Flash is an amazing first-person platforming game. I agree. That plays fantastic.
Oh, I have a mortal wound where I hit.
They were very smart with Jumping Flash in that you had both a shadow and then also like the way the camera would angle down made it really easy to sort of line up your jumps.
Right. I was able to get a copy of that in Japan. It had 1, 2, and 3 all in the same package. It was
Interesting. So it had Robert Mondu.
Yeah. It was Robert Mondu, but it had the other 2 in there.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was. I think it was like $2.
Wow.
we also got, sorry everyone, I'm trying to, y'all donated too quick for me to catch up. we had $5 from Zachary Drummond.
Oh, Thank you.
It says my Sony CRT has bad display geometry. I'm trying to find repair options here in Cincinnati. Advice.
Oh,
Hoping to see a ton of MLiG action in 2020.
yeah. Well, since you're here in Cincinnati, I mean, I don't know if they know that that's also where we are.
That's right.
And I think I may have recommended it previously, but you should check out Retrotech, the channel Retrotech. He lives down in Nashville, and he does CRT repairs. He'd probably be your best option.
Yeah, I mean, I know that sounds like it's a bit away, but
It's 4 hours.
I don't think.
I'd much rather drive 4 hours than shipping a CRT anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the relatively limited number of people that are going to be doing good work on CRTs these days, like a little bit of a drive might be worth.
So here's the key thing. So basically, after this first level, you come to this sort of like level hub here, right? And the keys you collect are used to open pathways to other stages. And then each one is like a place you can explore. So I just opened the Lost City and the jungle, but first I'm gonna save. Yeah, it's true that Outrigger was a 60 FPS Dreamcast game, but the levels are super tiny. So it's it's neat, but
did that use like the same engine, or did Spawn on the Dreamcast use the same engine as that? It's like the same kind of game, I thought.
Spawn was a Capcom game.
Okay. I mean, they were both like arena shooters though, like third-person arena shooters or something.
Sort of. Like Outriggers is more of a Quake style game.
Oh, okay.
We also had $5 from Kodo-kun saying, appreciate all your work helping people like me rekindle their love for retro. Good luck on your move, Coury.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Somebody mentions Daikatana. I actually wanted to do something on Daikatana at some point. I think
that would be really interesting, actually.
Daikatana is an underrated game, which is the weirdest thing you could imagine saying it, but if you patch it to fix it so that the AI partners are invincible, it kind of solves the biggest problem with the game. Because they would always get killed. And yes, Game Boy Advance Daikatana, that's right. I have I have a boxed Japanese copy of Daikatana for N64, which I find really weird, like made by Kemco of all people.
There was $2 from Love of the Game saying a new Cotton game has been announced for 2021. There's another Cotton game that's like I would think coming out much sooner.
Isn't it being published by Beep?
By Beep.
Yeah.
I assume it's going to sell like 10 copies and then it's going to get really rare in 10 years. And
yeah. Well, I'll definitely buy it.
Yeah, I'll get it right away.
I know they republished like the original recently.
And then there was another $2 from Ben Brody asking if you're moving into a house that is haunted. I'm guessing like there is a significantly lesser chance of your new house being haunted.
Exactly. Yes, it's going to be much less haunted.
Although you never know. I mean, you've got
except for the fact that it was buried.
Poltergeist was a brand new home.
Ground.
I can't believe another person mentioned CDI in here about that Apprentice port that just happened.
I'm going through here.
That's amazing. Oh, okay. So you're in this like sort of dark maze area. You've got to get around to the end and find the portal. That's where you came from. The center, no. The center is not where you want to be. So go back in the portal. And then you have to kind of wind your way through this.
It's kind of amazing how quick this moves.
Yeah.
I mean, why, when GoldenEye came out, like I had been under the impression that Turok was relatively popular already, so it always sort of mystified me a bit why it was such a big deal when GoldenEye. It's like, this was. I mean, you had it happen with GoldenEye, you had it happen again with Halo. Like people are like, oh, finally, like this is showing like first-person shooters done right on console, but I always feel like it's untrue. Both those times, it's like no, people had been saying before already that this game isn't done right. Then 2 years later, it's like, oh, finally, the first game to do it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with the notion that FPS was bad on console, because there was plenty of great examples of it.
Yeah,
They were just very different games. Like, this is not a typical shooter, because it's a much... Well, I mean, shooters back then were much more exploratory driven, but this one is different compared to even like Doom and the like.
Yeah, I mean, even as a guy who did not really have a lot of interest in playing first-person shooter games until I got into GoldenEye, like I was still like, hey, I thought Turok was like, I thought people liked that. I don't get why people are making a big deal out of it.
I'm not sure I agree that GoldenEye was a big step from Turok. I think it was a side step.
I agree.
They're very different games. I wouldn't compare them at all.
I wouldn't even say that it's like GoldenEye was like first-person shooter done right on a console. It was just a totally original formula, regardless of what platform.
It's right time, right place.
It was a super mission-driven, like careful kind of. It was a very, it was a unique sort of experience that, and you know, Turok is a very different thing as well. It's
right, and that's kind of how Rare's games tended to be back then. Anyway, they just like. They would create something that resembles an existing genre, but they always did very different things with it. Or maybe not always, but very often they did.
Is there any way to use the non-explosive ammo if I want to preserve it?
No, you just have to use it.
Okay.
So, somebody earlier asked about when was Doom done right on consoles first, and I'd actually say it was the Jaguar version. Which is it's not the best console version of Doom, but it's actually very reasonable. It looks nice, it runs relatively smooth, and it controls okay.
Oof.
It's a good version.
Those guys died pretty... It was like kind of a drawn-out animation. Like, grabbing their faces.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you feel kind of bad for them.
Oh, no.
Now, so Turok 2 was not really handled by the same team, right?
What wasn't?
Turok 2, it was kind of different.
It was the same team
behind it.
Turok 3, though, and Rage Wars was not really.
Oh, okay.
And those aren't really well. You don't hear people talk about them very much.
No, I don't like Turok 3 at all.
What about Turok Evolution?
My favorite Turok game is definitely Turok 1. And Turok 2 is excellent, but mainly the new version because they made a lot of level tweaks to it that I think makes it a much better game.
Do you think that 2 was maybe rushed at the time?
Yeah, it has a lot of technical problems on N64. And yeah, the
I remember,
cool, but it's not that useful.
I remember people even before Turok 2 came out, people were like, I hope the expansion pack is out in time for Turok 2 because it's really going to need it. But I don't even, to be honest, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head where the expansion pack improved frame rates in any way. It was always like increasing resolution, and then you got increased resolution and you still lost frame rate. Yeah, compared to vanilla.
It just gave more memory.
You know, like the blood shooting out his neck.
Oh, I love that.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, the expansion pack really it didn't improve performance usually because it was really just extra memory.
People definitely thought it would though.
Yeah,
back in the day, they were like, "Oh, this is going to help Turok 2 so much," and I remember playing Turok 2 and it seems so weird to think about nowadays, like playing an M-rated game in Walmart, but I'm pretty sure it was Walmart.
Yeah.
Like it was just like set up there, and I'm like, oof! Like even back then, me being the N64 fanboy I was, like even back then I was like, ooh, this is.
Am I trying to make that jump?
Doesn't feel too smooth.
Like you said there, that's what I'm saying. Like the expansion pack was literally just RAM. So the reason they could do high res is because they had more memory for a larger frame buffer and whatnot. So you could do a higher res. It was enabled because of the extra memory, but it didn't add any extra like GPU power.
Yeah.
So it's not, that's why the frame rate really didn't improve.
Or sometimes was worse, because I'm definitely pretty sure that Castlevania Legacy of Darkness...
Most games it was optional, right? You could...
Right.
The resolution boost was optional. You didn't have to use the high-res mode. Like in Turok 2, you don't.
Right.
It's literally just more memory.
Right, because I know that. I mean, to be honest, I don't really, not a lot of games that I really play on N64 utilize that kind of option. But like Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, I'm pretty positive the frame rate's a lot worse when you're using the high res mode.
Am I supposed to just make a running jump to get over there?
No, there's another way. You're in the wrong spot.
I can't go down. I can't drop down there either, right? Because I died.
Hold on, let me get to my save screen and I'll help you.
Yeah, Majora's Mask requires it. Perfect Dark's.
So turn around. Where you at?
Perfect Dark's.
Oh yeah, over there. That's right. That's where you go.
Single player requires it.
I tried dropping down there. I'm gonna die. No, I survived that time. Maybe I was so close to death before maybe an enemy attacked me and killed me.
Well, Perfect Dark, you say it had a worse frame rate, and that's true in high res mode, but you couldn't actually play the whole Perfect Dark game without the expansion.
You couldn't play like most of the game.
Right. So there's no way to really measure what the expansion pack is doing in those games because you can't see what the game.
Wait, am I wrong? Isn't it true that in Perfect Dark, like the whole campaign is not available?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. You can only play some of the multiplayer mode,
right?
And you're limited. You're limited in the number of bots you can use as well. But to be honest, I don't know if I've ever even turned the game on an N64 that didn't have an expansion pack. So
was it packed in with that?
All the details.
I have turned it on, I think, and yeah, it's just literally missing features. It basically says you can't do anything.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it did not come with. Because I know a lot of people bought it, and they could just do some limited stuff in the multiplayer
level to
mode.
find. Okay, so I still gotta. I can't access through here, can I?
So, yeah, I never used the high res mode in Perfect Dark.
Nah, me neither. It's terrible.
And to be honest, I've not really been quite clear what it's doing. Is it super sampling? Because I'm pretty sure it's still 240p.
Yeah, I mean it's basically it's like a lot of PlayStation games were like this as well. Actually, like Tomb Raider 3, I think was like 512 by 240 or something.
Oh, it's horizontal resolution.
Often though, I think the PAL version's like 480 by 360 or something. I can't remember exactly, but the resolution was different between the US and PAL version.
Right.
In high res mode.
Yeah, I think Rush 2049 uses a high res mode as well.
So it said I needed to find one more key in the level, so I must have done it wrong.
Okay, come in here.
Someone was saying that you should do a DF retro on N64 games with and without the RAM.
Yeah, that's something I've wanted to do for a bit. I have some capture done for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's an idea I've thought about. I just haven't had a chance to actually work on that.
It would be interesting to see someone make like a demo or tool where you could like turn on different features and see how it would work with or without an expansion pack.
Yeah, I agree. Oh no. Oh.
I don't know how much I love the gyro aiming for this.
Oh, you've got on.
Yeah. It makes sense when you're playing in handheld mode, but not so much with this.
Are you playing with a Pro controller?
Yeah.
I mean, I am all about gyro aim, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. There's kind of a
big like dead zone, yeah.
Oh, that's. I mean,
you can probably
it's not always done perfectly, but when it's done right, I am all about it. That was the best thing about Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Oh yeah,
that was the first game I played like that. It was just like Headshot City all the time, and holy crap, Scott Davis!
Scott Davis.
What are you doing, Scott Davis? Thank you, Scott Davis.
He's got a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
Scott Davis is a
we
good
got
friend
your
of ours
email
from
the other
San
day.
Francisco.
I think I forgot to reply, but
Yeah, we got an
thank you
email
for
from
that.
him about like a follow-up to like the next first-party controllers
Oh,
episode.
cool. I do actually have an answer to his question because I just mentioned Advent Rising this evening.
Oh, he really.
remember?
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and okay.
There's a huge difference between the PC and Xbox versions, mainly performance, because the Xbox version is one of the worst performing games on Xbox. The frame rate's very, very low, almost unplayable at points, which is why the PC version is definitely the way to play it. But it's interesting because it was an Unreal Engine based game, Unreal 2 Warfare. But other than that, I mean, the Xbox version had all the visual features. It just ran slowly. That was a cool game, though. I wish that had continued. I really enjoyed it. Great.
I mean, it had like a
great
cliffhanger
soundtrack,
and everything,
too.
didn't it?
Yeah. It was supposed to be a 3-part sort of.
And who was it? It was
Epic.
like it has like kind of these interesting people were involved with it. Like it had somebody major.
Orson Scott
Like,
Card did the story, I think.
right.
And it was Donald Mustard and crew, a chair that did the main development.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah, Scott's definitely brought up
And
Advent
yeah, the
Rising
soundtrack
before.
from Tommy Tallarico was fully orchestrated and just absolutely stunning.
And
One
it,
of his best works.
and it flopped.
I think it did, yeah.
Because I remember them saying like you could win like $10,000 or something. I remember like a thing on the cover saying win
It's
$10,000.
interesting that that's the one thing you remember.
Yeah, I mean I just remember that, and I thought about it. I remember thinking that I wonder who ended up winning that. And I wonder if like anybody like even
Did they pay out? That's
Yeah.
what I want to know.
after like especially after it didn't do good, or maybe nobody bought the game so that nobody actually entered the contest and they never had to pay it out.
Well, thank
They
you
canceled the
very,
contest,
very
they said?
much again, Scott.
Oh, they
thank
did?
you.
Yeah, it says they canceled the contest due to the bad sales.
Man. But it's not just Xbox exclusive. It's on other things too.
Well, it was on PC,
Oh, okay.
but the Xbox version was terrible.
So really, the only way to play a good version is on the
PC.
PC. Huh.
Tommy Tallarico Studios.
Speaking of, didn't you were just talking recently about Messiah?
Yes, Messiah. I hope Audie got me that copy of Messiah. If you're listening, Audie, you know I want that.
And that was at the time when that came out. I remember it being such a big deal. 'cause-
Sorry about that, Jack. I made him obsessed with CRTs. I'm also obsessed with them.
Is it weird that I hear Messiah and I think of the like
Oh,
the
he got the
Cybernator
Messiah
developer?
copy for me. I'm in your debt, sir.
Try. What do you think of when you hear Messiah?
The Cybernator developer. I don't know if that's how you actually pronounce
Oh,
it,
yeah.
the way that
Messiah.
that's spelled, but
Yeah.
that's where my mind went when you said Messiah.
That Messiah is the only Messiah that I worship.
Whoa. It's like falling right there. Hope this doesn't hurt me every time I'm falling in there.
Wait, let's try the pro grip.
I didn't realize that there was a name for.
No, it's
Goemon's
See,
Great
my-
Adventure Best
my
in
hand is
64
big enough
game.
that I can
I
comfortably
disagree,
hold the
but
controller like
I
this.
respect it's
but I
that's a
can't
good
use the Z
choice.
trigger, so I can't do it.
What about Goemon?
Someone in the chat said Goemon's Great Adventure Best in 64 game, and I said I disagree, but that is a fine choice. Very good game. A game that I respected a lot more when I replayed it. Oh, we got $3 or $2. Oh, you got me tongue tied there, Ben
Oh, man,
Brady,
I love
because
it.
you're asking about 3 FPS games.
Go ahead, Trey, yeah.
What are my top 3 FPS games? Ooh. That is tough. Half-Life 2 is way up there.
That's a good one. Yeah, obviously, that's a good one.
Man, I feel like I'm kind of blanking on it because like I played a decent number of FPS games last gen and very, very few this gen. I would say Time Splitters 2 is definitely up there, especially after I revisited it last year. I kind of gushed about it.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I kind of gushed about it in the Perfect Dark Zero video I did, because like I was just going to like record a little bit of footage of it and be like, this is like kind of part of Perfect Dark's legacy. But like I started playing it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like
better than you remember.
So much better than I remember, because you have to keep in mind I played it when it was new, like what, 2002 or 3. And like it wasn't that many years since Perfect Dark, right? And so like at the time, like that was what I wanted GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. That's what I wanted at that time, a first-person shooter to be. And that's what Time Splitters was, but it wasn't far enough removed at that time. Now, like I revisit that and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye, except it has a good frame rate and it has modern controls. Oh my gosh, they don't make games like this.
And
like,
I think,
it was such a revelation revisiting it, almost 20 years later.
I believe that Matt Phillips, who did Tanglewood, actually was the guy who included that in Homefront: The Revolution. Not the complete game, but he basically like included a part of Time Splitters 2
like the
there.
level design or something like that, right?
No. Like you can play actual Time Splitters 2, but I think it's just like the first level.
Oh, okay.
As like a bonus thing in that game.
But they included some of the levels or something like that in there as well. Or maybe
possibly, but I don't know about
same.
that. But I just know that there's like a Time Splitters 2 bonus in there.
If I was to round that out with a third, I mean, I'm tempted to say Metroid Prime, but I'm kind of one of those people that is like,
don't worry.
I don't classify that as a first person shooter.
You'll get your third once you play Halo.
Yeah. What do you think is the best Halo game? What is your favorite?
I mean, my favorite's still 1. Even though it's probably quite flawed, but the experience was so magical at the time.
I'm the same way.
I will not forget that. I mean, it's a great series all around, though. Everything Bungie made in that series is good.
Yeah, I mean...
I have played a little bit of Halo, but I haven't, like, really played Halo.
Right? Yeah, Tri has not played Halo 1, and I'm like, you need to play it.
What am I... Oh, I see.
We got £5 from Hyper Gibbon.
Thank you.
Asking, heard of Terracon for PS1, was a cool third-person shooter with some interesting mechanics, but only released in PAL.
Ooh, I haven't actually heard of it.
Large levels and view distance,
Crush for the rocks.
Oh, Ben Brody with a $2 donation says, mine is Half-Life 2, 2 is Deus Ex 2, and 3 is...
Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
I have a soft spot for Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
I like that.
I have not played the whole game, but my uncle had it on PC, and I really liked it. I really liked...
this is kind of a cool area.
Wolfenstein New Order. I haven't played.
That's quite good.
I haven't played the most recent. What was it? New Colossus. What was it?
Oh wait, it says that we're really quiet. According, if you can see in the chat, mic wise.
Well, we're trying. I mean, we got the microphone right here. I can try and interrupt the sensitivity on it. See if that helps.
Yeah,
we'll do our best. Let me know if this is better.
We'll try.
But people complain that we're quiet in general on streams.
Joe Redifer says it's because most
people
have our audio levels to be like what they should be, and everyone on like general stuff on YouTube is always like maxed out.
Yeah.
So it just makes us sound really quiet in comparison.
$1.99 from Asa Davis saying Klonoa is real good.
You are not wrong. It's a great game. Have they announced what that like the supposed remake or possible remake that of Klonoa that Namco said? Like they announced something with the Klonoa name, but they didn't say what it is.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I hope they do something with it.
Yeah. One of my favorite FPSs, I have no idea how it holds up, but I remember I played through it multiple times, and I don't think it's been ported anywhere. It's this PC game called Shogo.
Yeah, Shogo Mobile Armored Division.
Yep.
from a Monolith.
Yeah.
Super weird game.
It is, and
Yeah,
it
I
goes
had
back
that
and forth
in the
between like
day,
the third
yeah.
person. It has like the third person mech levels.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty cool.
It was super cool at the time.
Yeah.
John Ben Brody wants to know if you like fried egg on a burger.
Yes.
And we got $5 from Drumata. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Jumanji.
Saying favorite rare game you rented or borrowed but never owned. I rented Bomberman 64: The Second Attack so much it would have been much cheaper to buy it.
Oh no.
It's a good question. I back in the day, my memory was that I borrowed DuckTales from a friend. And then years and years later, when I finally played DuckTales 2, like the level design and that was matching up much more in my memory of what I borrowed from my friend. So
Must have been DuckTales 2.
Unsure. I may have borrowed DuckTales.
So somebody there just mentioned if I tried plasma TVs and that it would kill the FW900, and no. So I was a plasma TV user since 2006, and I still have second generation Pioneer Kuro in one of my rooms. Actually,
You shipped a halfway
I
across?
shipped it all the way to Germany. I mean, I've owned like 5 different plasmas. They are awesome. I love plasmas, but they do not match a CRT for several reasons. First of all, the motion resolution is still not on par with CRT. It's much better than LCD, and it's better than a sample and hold OLED, but it still has sort of slight motion blur, and there's also decay variation between the different phosphors. It causes a slight visible yellow trail effect, which I don't like, but it's not bad. But also there's a lot of PWM noise on plasma, so they look a little bit grainy compared to a CRT. And of course they're fixed pixel displays, so you're still like have to target native resolutions rather than being able to throw more arbitrary resolutions at it.
Right. When you look up close at a plasma,
Yeah, it looks very
almost
dirty.
has a CRT like look to it.
Almost,
Like,
but they kind of have
the
like a fuzz to
phosphors
them.
almost look like it.
There's a little bit of a fuzz there. It's the PWM noise. But on top of that, there's
What does PWM stand for?
it's like pulse width modulation.
Oh, okay.
So also most plasmas, as far as I know anywhere, are all limited to 60 hertz max. So the whole point of the CRT there is that with the FW900 is you can play at super high refresh rates to get really, really smooth motion with perfect motion resolution. So I can do 160 hertz, 120 hertz, no problem. Can't do that on a plasma. So you can't actually match that. No, there's no plasma that I've ever seen that actually does 120 hertz. It could be feasible though. It's just that they don't exist. None of them accept that resolution, unless there was some like monitor class plasma that I'm not aware of, like not a consumer display, but some like PC like display. But I don't
have the most experience with plasmas, but I've always been disappointed with black
dude,
levels.
hardcore, you are totally wrong about this. You are absolutely 100% wrong. It does not have much better image quality, and it does not have perfect motion. Plasmas do not have perfect motion. Like he's getting me worked up because that's so untrue. Because trust me, this is a place I've been many, 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 many times. I know all about these plasmas. I've been owning them for years, and I have had a ZT60. I've had a Toshiba plasma. I've had a different Panasonic plasma. I've had 3 Pioneer plasmas. I love plasmas, but they don't do perfect motion. Trust me, when I first got into plasmas, and yeah, I'm fucking worked up, asshole. Fuck you.
Oh yeah.
So, but
we missed a $2 donation from Joshua Helmicky asking what was the very first FPS ever made. And
yeah, I am
my
cursing
knee-jerk
because
reaction
somebody
is
in the chat is a piece of shit. Get out of here, asshole. And I'm serious. You ban that guy. Not the plasma guy. He's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, first FPS. I mean, I'm tempted to say Wolfenstein 3D, but I feel like that's so obvious. It's got to be.
And there was also another one that was from Carter Dodson asking what the top 10 anime crossovers are. Like I don't know. I didn't even know one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not really the to ask that question.
Samsung did make some nice plasmas, but they had a lot of image retention and burn-in problems compared to the other ones.
What'd you think of? Is it Sharp? I'm trying to think what brand my uncle had, but I thought they were just okay.
I mean, honestly, I've never like really seen one up close.
The plasma?
Yeah, believe it or not.
No, they're cool. It's just that they.
Do you think that they're glorified now, like as being better than they were?
No, it's like a halfway point between LCD and plasma.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like once LCD got like decent, it to me it was not worth the cost, extra cost, and then worry about retention and phosphor decay and stuff like that. At that point, I was just like, I'm just going to go with LCD. I'm not going to worry about plasma. Definitely thought about it at one point, though.
That's another donation there for a minute there.
Yeah, y'all are crazy tonight. We got
from
$5 from Monty G.
Really?
Saying, have John and Coury been having heated Ace Combat 7 strategy discussions?
No, I mean I've continued playing the campaign though. It's pretty good. I'm curious of where the plot's gonna go. It's surprisingly interesting. I like the world though. The world in that, like what is it called? What's the name of the world in Ace Combat? It's like.
Oh yeah, I forget the name. It is really cool though.
Yeah, it's but the story is pretty interesting, and but I'm at this one level. I kept on getting a mission fail. I had no idea why.
Is there anything in the world of Ace Combat that like
it's just the wind?
That feels good though.
Yeah. Is there anything in the world of Ace Combat that what?
That like is just absolutely not at all like the real world, other than just like different countries and different continents?
Yeah, I mean it seems like airplanes and like the Air Force is really glorified a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like the world of Pokemon.
Right.
No one talks about anything but Pokemon.
Can I just say,
yeah.
so I got my daughter
actually.
her first Pokemon game, like a real Pokemon game, for her 3DS for Christmas, and she's like way into it. She doesn't play a lot of games, and like even games that require a bit more reflexes, she loses interest pretty quickly. But Pokemon is like, it seems to be right up her alley, and I got her Pokemon Sun because it was just like whatever was like used at the place. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Christmas Day, she put in like 6 hours on Christmas Day.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
How'd your wife feel about that?
Well, I mean, she's fine with it. I mean, especially on Christmas Day, she's like,
yeah,
I have no problem with
that's
them just like having so much in the one, like during the one day.
Is she doing better with it than Minecraft?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that when we see her playing Pokemon, it's like you can hear her like reading the story and like what everyone's saying to her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's. Hang on, let me just make sure I don't want any of that.
Yeah, water to get through.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a $1.99 from Asa Davis saying it's pronounced Asa. Klonoa is still real good. That is still real true. I need to play Klonoa 2 sometime.
I'm a little nervous. I'm gonna actually take it out and I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it back in that one because
Just in case.
Yes.
We don't want any water to get down there.
especially this close to the finish line.
Ooh, another
It's a lot
top
better.
3 from Ben Brody. Top 3 games I would like to see remastered. Well, one of them we already know is happening, and that's Resident Evil 3. I think it would be really interesting to see like Resident Evil 4 done remastered, but it's also like
Did it actually get wet?
There's like water. It's okay. Let's just keep on going here.
it's actually like I don't know if it's all that necessary though. I mean, Code Veronica could be interesting too, but definitely Resident Evil 3 I'm pretty excited about. Let me think. Like, definitely like
Turn this thing off.
the 3D Mario games. I'm really nervous though. Like, I have zero faith that anyone would ever remaster Mario 64 correctly. Like, they're going to screw up the controls, the physics.
Something would be screwed up.
Huh?
Yeah, something would be screwed up.
Yeah, like the way that game is, like, because they've ever since Mario 64 or Galaxy, especially Galaxy, ever since then, like Mario has had a much like stickier sort of feel to his movement, and they're really afraid to like go back to that loose feel that Mario 64 had. I actually really like playing as Luigi in the Galaxy games just because he's a little looser. So Mario 64, like that's definitely a careful what you wish for, because of all the games in existence, I feel like that is the one that I would be
Like
the most.
I can't believe this guy's not kill me.
That's the one that would be
Oh,
like
they
the
would
most
get you?
difficult.
No, I was
Please
like
be
looking at
with.
this.
Like, you would have to be pretty
So
darn
weird looking at that
faithful
version
to the
compared to-
original
I know.
mechanics. But like Mario Sunshine, Galaxy, 3D Land, 3D World, I'd definitely like to see that. 3D Land would take some work because I feel like 3D Land is hard to play in a with 3D off.
Yeah, a little bit.
It would require like different cameras, but
Yeah.
like I'm considering all those Mario games like a choice. I would be
Sorry,
interested to see what they do with Mario 64, but
I did the
like definitely
Double
Sunshine
check.
onwards I'd like to see. As far as another one, I would like say some of the Metal Gear Solid games, but I mean the HD ports are really good, and like after Twin Snakes just does not have that Kojima vibe to it. So
Yeah.
like anything that's like a full on remake, like I just don't think I could trust.
What are your thoughts on Twin Snakes?
Oh, it's interesting, but I'm not a huge fan. But I don't mind it.
I
like
liked
the-
it a lot.
it makes it a lot
at the
easier.
time.
It doesn't really bother me. Like it's interesting that it exists. I'm glad that it exists as like a thing, but
Yeah,
I don't.
I really
like the way-
liked it when it came out. Like in my the graphics were
Yeah.
on par with Metal Gear Solid 2, and then when you revisit it years later, it's not. And just like the feel of the cutscenes and everything, it does not feel like Kojima. That's because it's kind of not, even though it
Yeah.
like is following his game pretty darn faithfully.
I'm like,
it's amazing,
How
just
do I use
like
grenades?
Yeah.
what a difference it makes actually having him directly involved.
Well, it's like Dennis Dyak's vision, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like of all the people they could have chosen. I mean, I wonder why.
Well, at the time, I think Dennis Dyack was,
His company was doing good.
I guess yeah, they were just
Yeah,
coming off of Eternal Darkness.
it was pretty respected, but now like Dennis Dyack, like now people just like after Too Human, I think people lost faith in him, and he was never really able to convince people that he was still with it. When they were trying to make that uh, Eternal Darkness spiritual success.
That's right. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that, and the Kickstarter didn't do well. Like
yeah,
it failed,
it did
right?
really bad. I don't remember if it was a Kickstarter.
They kind of fell apart miserably. I'm not really sure what the state of things.
Yeah, I wonder where he's at now. I mean, there hasn't been anything from him in a while.
8K HDR remastered rolling grumblumps. It might happen one day.
Maybe. As long as you can ride them, that's all that matters.
As long as you can convert it to
I got a
VHS.
backpack. So stuff like I just picked up the backpack. Is it just allows me to carry more shells and stuff, or I don't know even it does.
I remember. I know Kojima was involved to some extent, and the cutscenes were directed by a movie director. But it's still
makes it.
A Kojima game is directed by Kojima. No one else can emulate what he does. That's just how it is.
Oh, so they said LCDS NES will be rebranded FX Pack.
FX Pack?
Starting when? January 1, doing the word SD in the trademark. I had heard something similar to that. I didn't know if it was had been released yet or not, or that had been, if they had announced the name. I don't know if
people are going to have a hard time making that transition.
Well, I can understand why.
FX Pack sounds kind of. I get it. That's kind of cool, actually. But
yeah, using the word pack, it sounds like game pack.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually.
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty clever name, but I feel like people have a really hard time making that transition.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's been known as SD2 SNES for so long.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously this is a little. There's always those times where people are like, "Oh, I am never going to call this by this new name that they just announced that I hated." It's going to be the Nintendo Revolution forever. And it's like, yeah, right. Who actually stuck to their guns on that?
That's interesting about the Xbox Series X. There, I had heard. I can't recall exactly the number, but it does seem like it's going to have a lot of compute units for sure. Very curious to see what I want to see more of the spec reveal at this point, so we don't know that much yet.
Do you think they're going to launch with a lower power one?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
But you think PS5 is just going to be one platform?
I think it's going to be
one system.
I'm not sure about this lower tier system. I suspect that the Series X will be very expensive, and as a result, they're going to try to make up for it by launching a lower price model. Maybe the low price model will be like a 1080p target machine with similar games.
Mm-hmm.
That's just going to be a mess for your workflow.
I really don't. I'm not looking forward to that if that's true. I really don't want that.
It's hard to imagine though, if they really are positioning the Series X as a power machine, you're right, it is going to have to be expensive, and I don't think they're going to even though it wasn't, even though it was Sony that was the infamous
Let me check something real quick.
$600, $599 US. I don't think they would. I think they would do that, but I don't think they would do it without another box you could buy.
I see that Joshua Helmick donated $2 asking if we have any familiarity with the SD to SP2, and we just hung out with Dan Coons on Friday.
Right.
On Friday, and we got a couple of those for our units, and also the GC loader.
Now that's the disk drive one, right?
Yes, and the SD to SP2 is basically.
Yeah,
it can be used to replace the media loader in the memory card slot.
Oh yeah, that's true. I hate using that thing. It's such a pain.
Somebody else was asking about numbers, and I'm gonna guess on the Xbox something around like 56 compute units on the GPU, and I suspect the PS5 might be less, but I'm not sure. There's less information out there on PS5.
Do you think do you think that the proximity to 100% on backwards compatibility is going to be higher on Xbox than PS4 or PS5?
What do you mean proximity to 100%?
Like, I feel like Microsoft really like nailed it with backwards compatibility, at least in terms of like they've got their system down.
Yeah, they know what they want to do.
They know what they're doing in terms of that. And I feel like Microsoft is going to, this is just me randomly guessing, but I feel like they're going to get closer to having all Xbox One games compatible on the Series X than Sony will get to having all PS4 games right.
So my guess is that they're going to be fully compatible, or like 98% compatible across the board straight away.
There's probably going to be like some edge cases that they just
some edge cases maybe, but I think that's one of the specific reasons that going for x86 is so good for this case, because it should help. It's it's the same architecture all around. It should be fairly simple to pull it off. Now, Xbox BC, I think you're right, Lucas. I think that only applies to the ones that they've had to redo, though, which is why Xbox 360 and Xbox Original will continue to be limited. But I think Xbox One games will just work across the board in the same way that the Series X will be like a continuation of the Xbox One in a way. Kind of like how Xbox One X just runs Xbox One games, just improved. I think it'll be similar.
Do you think all currently compatible original Xbox and 360 games on the Xbox One will carry over?
Theoretically, they should, but who can say? Maybe there could be some. If there's a reason why it wouldn't, it would be some legal thing or some.
Right. I mean, my biggest disappointment with the backwards compatibility is how few original Xbox games actually got there. Like, original 360 is shockingly comprehensive. I mean, it's nowhere near 100%, but it's like there's like all of these like games no one cares about that are on there, and that's awesome. Like, I love that there's so many low priority games. Like, just goes to show that it really, they were just getting the games on there, and I applaud them for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Try. There's a couple of donations if you want to.
Yeah. Y'all are speeding up again.
Yeah, no.
Not ordinary in games with $5. Thank you. Saying since you're shooting dinos, I want to say I wish Dinosaur Planet came out as intended. I would be interested.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I would like to see that. Like, I don't hate Star Fox Adventures for being like a weird entry in Star Fox. I liked the game a lot more when it came out. The last time I replayed it, like, it didn't feel like there was much of anything interesting going on in terms of gameplay, but it's still a real visual treat for the GameCube, and it's really shocking this like 480p widescreen game with
at 60 frames per second, no less.
With fur shading, and they go at 60 frames per second, which was something that like Rare like never even considered touching on the N64. It's like this ridiculous generational leap for them, and it's so cool, and it's such a shame that is their only GameCube. I'm
like really living on the edge here with my 1 health point.
There was also
Turok doesn't mess around.
Let's see. There's also $5 from Guy Manley. Thank you. Asking, hello, love your Master series. Any experience with the Rad 2X console-specific cables by Retrode?
Not yet, but we hope to be doing something on the 2X soon. We haven't tested them or anything yet.
Yeah, yeah. As a clarification, that is,
What
I
happened?
wouldn't say
I
that
don't know, I
is
must have-
by RetroTink
Did
because
you do
that
something?
was kind of like a
you
collaboration between Mike Chi,
I
who
did,
does
yeah.
the RetroTink, and Rob from Retro Gaming Cables. And
I must
my,
have just hit the wrong button.
understanding is that it's kind of Rob's project now. That the Rad 2X is kind of his project. Mike helped him get going. I'm sure there's something in it for Mike. But that is definitely a Retro Gaming Cables product. But being that it's based, officially on the RetroTink architecture, I expect it to be very good. I love the RetroTink. I think it's it's one of the smartest choices people can make in terms of a device for retro gaming
On a budget, for
that,
sure.
that can play so many systems in a better way than you could just plugging them into an HD TV. Even if you're just using composite, you're still at least getting a lower lag experience. The composite is at least scaled correctly, even if it's not beautiful. Play stuff like N64 and S Video.
Yeah.
It's a great device. I'm a big advocate of it. But where I think I think it makes sense if you are interested in using multiple consoles to buy a RetroTink or an OSSC. But if you're the kind of person that's just like, and people have asked this question at conventions, and this is why I really wish that I have had a chance to use a Rad 2X, because I would like to be speaking from experience, but right now I'm just speaking from, I assume this is a thing that will be quite good. That is the perfect device for someone who's just like, I only want to play Super.
Yeah.
I only want to play Sega Genesis.
I just want to hook up my childhood Super Nintendo, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, and there are a lot of people that ask us questions just like that. Like, there is only one old system that I'm interested in hooking up. Otherwise I'm just playing, my Switch or Xbox One or PS4 or whatever. I want to hook up my Super Nintendo. Like,
right.
That is the target market for those cables, and I have absolute faith that they will be better than the Hyperkins or the Level Hike or whatever, which we are still going to do a video on those.
It'll all be in one video though.
I think that'll probably be the same video as the Rad 2X.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rad 2X seems pretty neat for the idea.
Yeah, I mean,
if that's just what you're trying to do with like a single system or something.
Exactly.
Right. And there's a lot of people like that. But I would say that if there's 2 to 3 plus systems that you're interested in hooking up, then I think it's worth looking into a RetroTink. Especially, I mean, maybe you say like now you're like, oh, I only want to play this system, but watch out. You might not always want to just play the one system.
Exactly.
One day you could be like John and
oh, I got the level 4 key.
You're playing CDI all the time. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And that slope ends.
I don't recommend
with
that,
your
that
face like smack on like a muddy CDI. Oh, we got 399 from Drew Eisel saying,
Thank
I'm
you.
using Rad 2X playing Mario 64 right now.
Oh.
There you go. Well,
Awesome.
there's a example from experience right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's again, N64 is perfect
You're like
system
going
for
to-
that kind of thing.
So when you run out of lives, I mean, I see you can like respawn at the different lives. How do you get those to even appear?
What's that?
I mean, how do you get more lives?
Oh, you earn those little triangular things, or
Oh, yeah.
spin around, you collect those.
I see. Okay. And like maybe for 100 of them or something, you get a life?
Yeah.
Got it.
How far are y'all into the
I don't know.
I finished the first 2 levels, and am I missing keys? Let me see. Yeah, I missed 2 keys in level 2, so that's bad, and 1 here. So I'm not doing exceptional here, but
Did you play through the whole game when you did any of your recent videos?
Oh yeah.
How long did it take you?
Less than 10 hours now
For each game or just one?
for one.
That's pretty decently length though.
It probably would take longer if you're not used to the game.
Yeah.
But I'm not concentrating as much here because of this. So I'm missing some secrets and all the keys and such. What's going on there?
See right there. Like I see that. Why they
Oh,
do
yeah.
that? I don't know what it means when they're like glowing like that.
That's because they're just warping them out. Because the N64, it couldn't draw that many at once.
I see. So they're just making it as part of the game instead of just disappearing.
Can you picture how good Wave Race would be on the next gen consoles? I mean, Wave Race is already pretty perfect on N64, so I don't know what kind of advancement it needs.
There's a jump on them.
I still think that game is a miracle to have come out as early in the N64's life as it did. Like to have that kind of wave physics. Oh, that game is just so. I could just pick that game up anytime and just have a good time. Like it's just such a great pick up and play game.
I see that we had a $2 donation from L Brown 21494 is saying, "What's the hardest video for you all to make?" What do you think was the hardest video you've ever made, John? I mean,
Probably one of those developer ones.
Yeah.
Because trying to do that in a short time, make that work, that definitely was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, although,
I mean, there's probably a lot of ones like of things you don't like want to cover all that much that are harder than
like if somebody says, "Hey, cover Fortnite," I'm just like, you know,
that would be the hardest video ever. Oh, like you can knock over the trees; they'll fall down. It's kind of interesting.
For me, definitely the GameCube HDMI updates video that we did November, December last year. That video was tremendously difficult.
That's cool.
Mostly just because there was a lot.
It was kind of a moving target.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a moving target. There were, some issues with the pre-release GCHD Mark II.
But they were actually able to fix those issues because of like the stuff.
They were able to fix those issues because I looked at it early enough.
Oh yeah.
But I was just kind of like, okay.
Something with the black levels, right?
Yeah, the black. It was the black levels and really the light levels too.
Wasn't it crushing detail and like clipping whites?
And it was, and it turned out that to some extent these were flaws that were in the open source code, like mostly because like no one up to that point had really tried to make like a retail product out of the analog version of GC video. And so like even though that stuff had been around for a while, I guess like not enough people had really looked at it, and I was like looking at it and I'm like, I know no one cares about anything but Smash, and or at least that's what it seems like sometimes. I'm like, I can't freaking see where I'm going in Resident Evil. It's dark.
Also, I love for the love of the game for that comment. I find Quake Saturn more impressive and interesting than N64 version. I agree. That Quake on the Saturn is so cool.
N64 version has anti-aliasing disabled.
Yeah, no, the N64 version's a good port, actually. It's a very good port. It's just the Saturn version is really neat. Oh, what the...
That's animation.
My save. Oh, we got Doom on the Saturn recently. That's a rough one. Yeah, this game is brutal with the lives.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
That was how you did it back then, right?
Yeah.
Who remembers this part with the pillars? This is pretty. This was probably the thing that I can imagine a lot of people made it to this part and then just never played the game again. It's all platforming.
Oh, it doesn't look that bad.
Well, the problem is the jumps start to get really far apart and also vary their distance a little bit. So
I noticed you kind of fall through, like if you jump a little bit too far, you will overshoot it.
So if you go down here, there's like a secret area down there you can get to.
Do enemies respawn?
Okay, I guess if you just go straight here, you can just kind of... But there's also... Well, since I can just reload my save, maybe I'll see if I can get this way. Oh, okay. So you see those distant platforms down there? Well, I don't know how fast the stream is here, but...
They do respawn, okay.
Yeah, they definitely respawn.
Like, do they respawn when you're looking at where they would spawn from, or is it just when you're like away from?
Whoa!
Just my alarm or my smoke detector. The battery's dying, and sometimes it beeps a lot, and sometimes it doesn't beep at all. But I wonder if it's
the portable Turok games Audie mentioned. I don't even know what they look like off the top.
They're cool. They're really cool.
For some reason, it takes me back to the Game Boy Color Perfect Dark game, which I owned. I got it when it came out, and I did not play very far into it. I remember not being impressed. I've always kind of wanted to give it another shot. I don't own it anymore though. It's not a game I see very often. I don't know if it's like rare or something.
What, Perfect Dark?
Yeah, Perfect Dark on Game Boy Color. They had Rumble built into the cartridge.
Huh.
Wow.
Didn't know about that?
I forgot about I've never actually played that version. I just heard about it.
Yeah, it's if I remember correctly, it's actually a prequel, which Perfect Dark Zero also is. So I'm not sure if like it actually fits into any sort of continuity that would make sense. Even though like Perfect Dark Zero's story was nonsense, but
I see. Smoke Monster saying that's a lot of people watching. How many people are watching? Is this going to be our highest viewed stream, exceeding even Prism?
There's 543 people.
Dang.
What? Dang.
Yeah.
I don't think I can make this jump.
Oh,
it's difficult.
Trial and error. Is there like at least a safe spot right close to it?
Wait, are you really supposed to jump down there?
There's a secret down there.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So it's odd.
I'm just trying to get there because
I'm so far behind you for one thing. Doesn't even matter. Like we can't even. Oh. The guy went flying.
Whoa, that guy went flying in the very wrong direction.
I was just gonna ask about the speed runs in Turok, because that's people that speed run this stuff it's super cool.
I mean, I bet it's pretty broken at this point. Like, I feel like N64 is a popular speedrunning console because
there's early
constructing
3D games,
3D worlds was so new that there's lots of ways to do things you shouldn't do. Which, back in the day, that was one of the most appealing things about the system for me, because like especially like Mario 64 and GoldenEye, I feel like it was very easy to find sort of weird glitches in those games that just like, for me, increased the replay value.
All right, I'm not.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And then like Banjo-Kazooie, I didn't really replay like I did Mario 64 because like the game didn't feel as open-ended as Mario 64 in a lot of ways. Like it just felt more constrained. And I don't know if that's necessarily true because I'm pretty sure, there are so many glitches people have found in 64 games, but it just seemed to me that like back in the day, Mario 64 and GoldenEye were the games that people were aware of glitches in. And
Yeah.
I guess it was maybe just because those were popular, and nowadays people have possibly found just as many glitches in other games.
There's plenty.
But but yeah, I mean, I know, like, Zelda found lots of glitches in it. I was the only glitch I was aware of back in the day in Zelda that I can remember was the one where you can turn other items in your inventory into bottles.
Oh yeah.
If I remember, I actually used to have. I don't know if I still have it. I used to have a save file where like all of my items
conveniently
were
right
fish
on
in
the
a
platform.
bottle.
He spawned on there.
Every single item was a fish in a bottle, and what I mean, not that there was any reason for that. I just did it to do it. But like, what I think you do is like when you going to catch something in the water, you have a bottle.
Got really hard.
And while you're in mid swing, you pause the game and switch to another item, and then that item will become what you catch, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's an interesting. It's interesting comment. I mean, I thought about this a bit.
Yeah. Do you consider Code Veronica to be Resident Evil opposed to Nemesis?
There's the secret area I wanted to get to.
I think
consider
it's a more
Resident Evil
appropriate 3.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. I mean, 3 by all rights should be the spinoff. Because
I mean, 3. I always felt like they just made it because they could make it quick enough, and it just happened to come out at a time that it came out first. So they like always gonna make this
I mean,
3.
the thing is, like, it takes place at the same time roughly as Resident Evil 2. It's the Raccoon City incident.
Yeah.
So it feels like a side story in that sense, whereas Code Veronica like actually pushes things forward. That said, I feel like 3 matches the tone of the series better than Code Veronica does. Code Veronica, like, kind of feels weird sometimes. Although I do really enjoy the return of Wesker in it. To be honest, I think I've only beaten Code Veronica.
Well, keep in mind though, that Code Veronica was kind of made by Nextech, that did like Linkle Liver Story. And all
I
that.
forgot it's not like exactly.
Like Capcom,
House
obviously,
project, is it?
they contributed heavily to the development, but the heavy lifting was done by Nextech. So it was kind of it wasn't a typical Capcom game at the time.
It has one of the most amazing intros, though.
Oh yeah,
I love the dropping the handgun and grabbing it.
Yeah,
it's very memorable for sure. But don't get me wrong, I like Code Veronica, but I was kind of down on Resident Evil 3 the first time I played it, and the second time I played it, I really got into it though. Like I
don't know why.
I just have much greater appreciation for it. So whether or not it makes sense as being the game that is numbered 3, it is my preferred of the 2 games.
Where's the button?
There was Robbie Huang with $1.99. Thank you. Do you think new CRTs will be made by enthusiasts? I mean,
a vehicle?
Look.
Oh wow. I love that like overwrought boss meter with like the 3D
like
text
stone.
It's like going away from you. It's pretty awesome. that car is like actually like a really good looking car.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
There's a
it just goes in circles though.
Yeah.
This is just like one part of this boss fight though.
Oh, so
I don't think new CRTs will be. I mean, I feel like it's got to be too complicated of a technology for.
It's not worth the money investment.
People
even though...
to it's like, could it happen? Yes. Will anyone ever have enough money to do that or afford that? No.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this with Dan the other night about how I think the level of enthusiasm that we see is different than like what's actually out there. I guess just like, you know, we would say, oh, that would be awesome. There's so many people that would buy it. But in reality, there's probably like 3,000 people max that would ever consider buying that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if 3,000 is it, but yeah. I mean, depending on the cost.
Right.
But yeah, like, I mean, think about this. Like, we have no clue how some analog actually sell. Like,
right, exactly. I mean, there's so much to it that we have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, you think like that is a relative big product in the retro gaming scene. Like, how many really sell? Like, I have no clue. You know, people complain a lot about this is too expensive, that is too expensive, you know. And I think it's just, when people say that, to me, it's just disrespecting, like,
the time and effort.
The time and effort people are putting into it. And it's because people are thinking like, oh, it's an old, it should be cheap. And, you know, and since they're also disrespecting like the value of old games, you know, by saying like, oh, this should be like dirt cheap.
Right.
But yeah, people don't understand like the effort that goes into it. For very few people is this like actually a job that can sustain them. They're putting lots of their own money into prototyping and that's not cheap when in reality, I mean, we're talking to 541 people right now that are maybe interested in buying some technology for old game systems, but like at the end of the day, it's just not that many people, and and people don't respect what or appreciate what, you know, what the scale of production, you know, really does. And retro gaming is a small scale. I mean, no matter, there's no two ways about it. It's a small scale.
You know, the reality is though, I just really want manufacturers to find a way to match CRT motion quality on modern displays. Like that's really the main thing missing.
Do you think they're even thinking about it?
Is there any way they could also?
There is evidence of this because as somebody pointed out to me, and I looked at CES last year, and that's coming up in 2020 here shortly. LG had like a clear motion OLED prototype that was designed to, you know, solve this problem, but it's not in any consumer display yet. But maybe the 2020 model, probably not. But there's potential there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing too is kind of what you and Richard were talking about with the CRTs, and it's also like you can get away with less.
I'm gonna go to an area hopefully here.
You can get away with lower resolution, but still feels clean at a low resolution. You don't have to worry about anti-aliasing so much. Do you think there's like any display end feature that could mimic those qualities of a CRT? The non-fixed pixel qualities of a CRT on a fixed pixel display. Can that really be?
Well, the thing is though, is like technically CRTs still have like kind of a fixed resolution in a way because of like, you know, like the grill or, you know, the Trinitron setup, but due to the way the beam scans, you don't end up with that same kind of look. So you can enjoy without. So the
I know somebody said earlier on, said my life in coughing, and yes, it's been.
You're doing much better now.
Yeah, much better now. Like the other night, I was coughing when we were out too.
How much of your voiceover and on stuff was recorded after you got your cold?
Oh, I mean, I'm congested in the entire thing, but.
Oh, okay. I thought you had recorded.
But
more
there's like
beforehand.
no. I mean, it was recorded before it got like really that bad. But I mean, I'm congested in the entire video.
I could tell from what I watched you sounded a little congested. It's
yeah,
been a
just
while.
I mean, it's not obnoxiously. I'm not like talking like this, but it's clear that
You get
not
it's
my
clear
normal
that you're
voice.
not 100%.
Yes. I mean, I rushed because I started to feel like I could get sick. Like, so I really did my on-camera stuff. I did it Christmas Eve, believe it or not. Like after the kids went to bed, and then I was actually like I kind of got sick that night where I had like a fever and stuff, and then I mean John got sick like the same time.
I had
So
the same thing.
So I mean it could have been.
This is the first time I was sick all year, honestly, and it was probably, well, at least with a virus.
Yeah.
And I think it's riding on the plane, and also...
I mean, I could have caught it from you, or...
Yeah. Could have been anything.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a variety of things, but it's...
I mean, you all met up a couple of times before, so it could have come from the same...
Yeah. I could have gotten it from watching Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That is the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I got after the stream. I want to show you this video that I just thought it was the funniest thing.
Oh gosh,
I was dying when I was watching it though.
I probably watched that like 4 or 5 times
I know.
after you linked me.
I know. I watched it several times. It's just like this classic clip of like two guys like speaking Spanish like on a talk show, and they're like one of them's like laughing constantly.
That one, yeah.
And it is like the wording, the way that he says stuff, like the way what the subtitles say is really.
I mean, the way that guy laughs though, like I feel like it's hard to not laugh at like anything he's talking about. You know?
Exactly.
I ended up also finding I think I'd seen this one before. I ended up finding, after watching that, I found the one where he was talking about like the MacBook with like no USB ports on it. And he was like one of like the engineers on the team. He was like, come on, we got Tim Cook's coming tomorrow. We gotta do this. he's like
laughing saying
and
it.
he's like, and the guy like forgot to put ports on it. And then they die laughing. And he's like, and then Tim Cook comes in. He's like, I love it. He's like, if Steve Jobs was here, we would all been fired.
That's funny. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the clip like used on anything else before.
You've never seen that before?
No,
Really?
I don't think so.
Oh,
That thing's everywhere.
I definitely seen it a couple of times. It's like you can make that guy say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to watch that clip after the stream. It's pretty good.
What
But I also
upcoming
love
games are
how
you
they-
looking forward to playing? From Ryan Rarden, sorry.
Well, upcoming games?
Yeah.
Man, I don't even have a sense of what's upcoming. Like, I feel like this generation is like
It's
really
almost over,
winding.
and I haven't played barely anything.
Yeah. I mean, I assume we're talking about upcoming games. Yeah, upcoming games. I mean, Last of Us Part 2. Like, I'm not like overly hyped about it or anything, but like, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think Ghost of Tsushima looks good. Obviously Metroid Prime 4, but we haven't even seen it. Gosh, I actually think the new Animal Crossing looks really good. I'm excited about that. Outside of that, like, I'm kind of drawing a blank on what is even coming up for Switch right now.
I see that we got another donation from Scott Davis. Scott's going crazy tonight. Says you guys stoked for the upcoming remasters of Vanquish and Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy that. I mean, I assume they're just going to be ports of the PC versions.
Yeah, which are excellent.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm probably going to buy it on the Xbox One. But
that seems like the right system for those games.
I'm back here somehow.
It's a physical version with both games in one package, right?
Yep. I'm very
definitely,
excited.
Definitely seems like something to get onto Xbox for sure.
Although I saw something saying that like I wonder if the PS4 version is going to be bad because Sony's like never gotten a good version of Bayonetta.
This is,
there was only the one game. That was actually that was how I first
Really?
PS3.
Oh
yeah.
no, really?
It was many years after its release too. Yeah, I didn't have a 360. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I recognize it was not well optimized, but it wasn't unplayable. I still enjoy the game overall. I feel like though, even if I would mostly get that. I feel like I would mostly be getting that package for the 4K version of Vanquish.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like if I do replay the first Bayonetta, I kind of would do it on Wii U because like I definitely associate Bayonetta with like Nintendo now. Like obviously the new games are. I don't think the new games are ever going to be on anything that's not Nintendo.
That's true.
Yeah.
But then again, like there's the whole thing with like Death Stranding. Like I was
on the PC.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Like they announced that out on for and like Sony published the PS4 version, correct?
Yeah.
That's a weird situation. I mean, there's the whole. I remember like the phase where there was like a new picture every day of like Kojima and Marc Cerny like traveling the globe. Like like Sony was very involved with getting that game off the ground, so it's just kind of surprising to me. There was $2 from Dustin Kramer asking least favorite current trends in gaming.
Probably more to do with like just the community, like the way people can be.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually stressed about the new consoles because I know people are just gonna like get really nasty about it. They always do. So I may actually have to like stop social media during that because of how nasty it gets. So
who haven't learned that like being about that stuff is not like worth it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
people don't love to love anything anymore. They just love to hate, and it's like it's everywhere, and it really sucks.
I think that I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Smoke Monster tweeted today about how he's been releasing these Mr. videos like every day I think he was doing 21 of them in a row.
That's hardcore.
Yes. I mean, and they've been really good, and he's been same time every day, like releasing them. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
And he's just talking about how he's getting a lot of comments from people that are just like, why not just use a Raspberry Pi? Or Raspberry Pi is better in one way or another. And that got me to thinking that like before the channel started, and I was like not even really paying attention to like what people thought about games. I thought that the idea of like console wars was like over with.
Yeah, I really thought so too. It could be fun actually, but it's very serious these days. People get very upset.
It's
really kind of
it's like even
off to a lot of this stuff.
It's even dumber now. I feel like than it was like back in the day when there were like much more tangible differences between the platforms.
Oh yeah, it's basically the same hardware now. Like it's off the shelf stuff from AMD that's been slightly modified. Like it's fun to see how it turns out, but like
it's
there's
not
no reason
worth
to get invested in that emotionally.
And it seems like it's like not even worth. It's not even about playing like the games themselves anymore. It's just about the technology behind it.
And it's just this. It's I don't know. It's really kind of gotten to me lately. So that's the big thing that's really got me down.
Yeah. I
mean, obviously there's stuff like, the whole, focus on, battle royale and multiplayer stuff that just doesn't interest me. But, at the end of the day, like
that's cool. It's like it doesn't bother me because of that in that sense. Like
Right. I mean, I think it's fine because like I made peace like a number of years ago with the idea that like if gaming like went in a direction that just like did not interest me anymore, like I would never run out of things to
I thought the same thing.
Play like with what we already have. Like not just to play, but like to continue to make videos on and stream. Like
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
we
John and I were
could
talking
make
about this
do with
earlier.
what we have for the rest of our lives. If at
Yes.
any point it was just like, you know what, modern gaming is.
Yeah, I mean, John and I were talking about how we barely even think about new things coming out until they're already out, because it's not like we have any shortage of other things to play in the meantime.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
plenty.
Yeah, more so than we have time for anyways.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't think with that previous question about, what are we looking forward to? Like Final Fantasy VII definitely for me
Well,
Oh yeah, the remake.
is the thing that I'm most looking forward to. I know Corey's like not going to be the whole thing just yet.
Yeah,
but
well, I mean,
I think it looks amazing. Like the tone and look and feel and everything of it is
It looks really cool.
like
I mean, it does, but I mean, I just feel like it's going to be like it's going to be over. It's like, oh well, the whole game was like in this gloomy city. I just spent all this time in there. I like some blue skies in my games.
yeah.
I'm not gonna get that in this.
I agree, but I'm pretty excited.
Or I mean, it's like it could be completely awesome, but like, what if it's such a drag? Like, what if it's just
It looks like it's going to be pretty fun to play.
yeah? I got more excited once I heard that they are adding.
It's being expanded a lot.
No, but I heard that they are adding a mode that lets you do turn-based battles.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like that makes me a little bit more interesting in it. More
I
interested.
think the revised battle system looks really good though.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
Like I was nervous because like people kept seeming to think that it was going to be like Final Fantasy 15 before like they
Oh, no.
actually showed how the battle system worked, and I don't like Final Fantasy 15's battle system at all.
Yeah.
I got into
Like,
it, but it has issues.
It wasn't like I rarely had difficulty playing Final Fantasy 15. Like it wasn't like I was losing battles or anything. I just didn't think it was very fun to play,
Yeah.
And that's yeah. It's fun. You can say that, and it's fun to discuss. Yet some people would get really angry at you for saying that.
That's stupid.
Exactly.
I mean, I do consider, Final Fantasy 15 like my personal least favorite Final Fantasy, which,
Wow.
yeah.
I actually kind of liked it, but it's flawed.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't like hate it or anything, but like it was just kind of disappointing.
For sure. It was a tough project, though.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And I do think they made the right decision, like bring that project back and brand it Final Fantasy 15. I think that was the right choice. But it's just, I feel that that battle system, there's just nothing about that battle system interests me.
There was some discussion a couple of weeks ago on the 10th anniversary of Final Fantasy 13 about how it's like not as bad as people thought it was, because at the time it made it seem limiting of like the it seems like you were always running down a hallway, but at least they had a story structure that worked well, which is something that didn't work well in 15 at all, in my opinion.
Right. Like I mean,
I think the first
sometimes I want a bit more linearity.
Yeah.
And I think Final Fantasy 13 had a very well-paced. It was a well-paced game, and I feel like the way that the battle system evolved over the course of the game was very engaging, and I liked how they sort of forced you into these like unexpected 2-character pair-ups for like the first half of the game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Where it was kind of like, oh, like I didn't expect to be using like these 2 characters together.
Right.
Like, you were forced to use characters together that you might have otherwise not used together, and it really made it to me. The battle system like was always fresh and interesting for that first half of the game. Like, oh, how can these 2 characters work together? And then like around halfway or maybe a little past halfway, they
extra lives and stuff.
They open it up and you can use everyone, whoever you want, 3-person party. I thought it was really interesting. Really, the only the story in Final Fantasy 13 was like, it wasn't my favorite in the series or nothing, but like the only major issue with the game, if anything, was that I thought most of the dungeons were like, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 minutes longer than they should have been.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought that 13 had a great soundtrack.
Oh,
yeah. It's a great looking game. Try, you and I both platinumed it. The first one.
Yeah.
I platinumed 13-2 also. Then I didn't really care for 13-3.
I loved
13-3.
Lightning Returns. Like,
it's
it
funny
was.
you say that, but it's basically what it was. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
I always
that's what
I
they
had not
called it.
platinum like.
Lightning Returns is a tri-ace game, isn't it?
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can always count on tri-ace to make something interesting.
They
And
do
difficult to play.
Weird stuff, but I always like their games.
Oh, I love Lightning. It, like, from a gameplay perspective, just the systems in that game and the way they
He's
work.
like this thing again.
Like, the whole
not
time I
here.
was playing that game, I kept thinking, like, why the heck did they make this game? Because I don't know of anyone who actually wants a game to play this way except me. Like, I can understand why people didn't like it. There's a lot of things about that game that it's just not what people normally do. But I loved it. Like, it just, I would really like to replay it. Like, especially with like the 4K version you can play on Xbox One now.
Oh yeah, that's really great.
I loved that game. Like, from a gameplay perspective, I think each successive game got a little better, even though they got more open, which, like, I like are kind of a little weary of, world games and stuff. But like Lightning Returns was like exactly the kind of open world game that I enjoy playing. Like, it wasn't overly directed. It was very much not a point A to point B kind of thing. It was really good. I think I missed a donation. Let me scroll up here. They're from Not Ordinary in Games, $5. Thank you. Saying, amen. So many great games already exist. Enough for decades.
Basically, yeah.
That's true. You just have to have an open mind about some mechanics that some people would call dated or
Unnatural.
something. Somebody call it them unnatural.
I saw some talk about Final Fantasy 12 on the Switch. I don't know how the Switch version is supposed to be, but it was a deal of the day on Best Buy one day for $20, and then I still have my Gamers Club unlocked, and I had a gift certificate, like a $5 gift certificate. So I was like, I'll do that for $10.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm sure
if you can ever get it with your Gamers Club for that price, for under $20 again,
I'm sure it's going to be
interested.
Like normally that price soon. I mean, it's been $25 pretty consistently since.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I want to get the Xbox just because, like, I don't think that version's 4K, but it's the only version that supports 60 frames.
Oh, really?
That's right.
I just felt like
I love Final Fantasy.
And
like, I just had such a great time. Like, that was the first game I played on my OLED.
Was it really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first game that I played through. Like, it came out the day before my OLED, so I started the game on my old TV, and then
I feel like I
like,
want to go back to that hub.
It was such
city, and I need to.
It was such great
go back.
gaming comfort
Go
food.
back to the start of the stage. You can walk back out.
So I think if I look at my keys here, it looks like I was missing one.
In this first stage?
Yeah, so I can't go to level 2, so I've been on level 3.
Oh, you have to go find it. Go back.
How do I get back to level 1?
Just walk back across that bridge.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like about Final Fantasy 12 is that the story feels unfinished. It was the first Final Fantasy game where it didn't feel like you got to explore the entire world.
Yeah.
There were entire continents and countries that you
that are
knew
referred to and
existed.
never-
They were part of the story. You met characters from those countries.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to go there. And that was the first time that had ever happened. Like
Right.
even Final Fantasy X with no world map, and even though 10-2 like introduced a few new areas, there was never this sense that like you left anything major in that world unexplored.
Right.
Like it definitely wasn't quite the same as, you know, Final Fantasy 9. And of course Final Fantasy 11 was still developing. Like it's you knew like more of the world was out there. But you know, I don't know if there's anything in the
he blew up his car and I gotta fight him.
that is like not
Yeah. You fight two
accessible
cars
at this
and then
point.
him.
But
I don't think I'm gonna be
you
able
know,
to do it.
that aside, it was the first time that it's
Terrible
like
tonight.
Yes.
like it was
That's what
it was a
is.
shock to me that the game was ending because I was like, oh, we never went to what's that country called? It's the one that the
That's it
Alcid
right there.
Margrace is from.
In the middle. Yeah, that's it.
It's right there the whole time.
Right at the start.
Right at the start.
So yeah, that was disappointing the first time. Like it just felt.
But going
Incomplete
back to it and knowing that.
Going back and knowing that, like, I am at peace with where the Final Fantasy 12 story ends up now.
Yeah.
But
Well,
at the time, I was just like, oh, like I never got to go to this other country. It was just a big disappointment.
I think this is way back there. I saw some people commenting on the smoke alarm. Yes, I know. Yeah, I mean, this whole setup's coming apart. I really wanted to get these like Velcro ties with labels on them, so I could label all of my cables and what they're connected to.
oh yeah.
You know, I've got. I know I'm so tiny on the camera, so you won't see. I've got. You know, I've been redoing my stuff. I've got right here a big pile of Ziploc ties that I've like taken off of stuff, and they've got dog hair all over them, of course.
Is there any way to do a map overlay?
Yeah, I've
like
got
this
another
and that?
pile of them upstairs, and to be honest, like I
feel
in
like
some ways
it
I'm
really
kind of
helps
sick of
when
them
it's
because
me.
then they just like make
if you don't
it
know
all
the
the more
stage,
complicated
I
when I
already
do
know
need
now.
to like go back and you know, change something about a wire or something. You know, it's kind of a pain, but you know, I still have like I'm going to do a down here, but I've got things pretty decently set up right now.
Well, I have some ideas. My main goal is to make it so that no wires are visible at all. Period.
It's gonna take a ton of work, but you can do it.
I think I
It's
can
gonna
do
be
it,
awesome.
and then you know I'll never have to do anything with it ever again.
Well, that's
I
not
mean,
gonna happen.
that's the famous last words. I know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
my goal.
But the thing is, like, it's good to have like you know a place where you can hot swap something that you just
Right,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
I was just
don't
gonna say that,
really
have
want
a
to
hot
integrate
swap
into your
spot.
setup.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Turok underwater music's great. And that wasn't even in the original PC release.
I didn't realize
Hang
they
on,
had.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
All right. Let's try this.
She needs
boss
Turok
again.
underwater music. I didn't realize that was a thing.
While you're in the spiral level.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get out because I think this is how I get back to where I'm supposed to go. I go all the way around. But I mean, just like the act of moving is more stressful. I think it's and most
really
stressful
is.
on my wife, because
It is hard.
it is. I can't even imagine moving to another country though, like you did.
Yeah,
That sounds.
It's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Oh, what was your first job? That's what Elbrown at 21 494 is asking.
Weirdly enough, it was like working, helping out in an engineering department.
Oh.
But like when I was like 16.
So do you like? So you knew like an abnormal amount, you think, for?
Maybe. I mean, I did some AutoCAD stuff and helped with shutdown, and it was like part time, but it was like kind of a learning job thing.
Right.
It was good.
My first job was I was a cook at Pizza Hut.
Nice.
Yep. I worked there for a year and a half before I got a job at Electronics Boutique, but in that year and a half, I think I gained like 45 pounds or 50 pounds or something.
Working at Pizza Hut.
Yeah. I mean, every Wednesday they'd have the buffet.
Oh,
You could eat, and you just
that's a dangerous.
It's like
one.
like dessert pizzas and stuff.
Yeah.
They have like the frosting on them. It's like that, like the grape or like the different kind of jelly stuff on there. I haven't had Pizza Hut in a long time, honestly. At this point,
I've gone through phases with it. It's been a few years for me for sure. I actually just today tried for the very first time, just because I was like, I've never tried this. I want to try it. Just to have the experience of having one more like chain pizza place like off my bucket list or something.
Yeah.
But I
Papa John's.
because I was working on the video today, I ordered a delivery for Hungry Howie's. Have you ever had Hungry Howie's?
What is Hungry Howie's?
Never even heard of it.
It's I mean, I think it's been around a while. They're what they claim is their claim to fame.
Annoying.
Flavored crusts. Like you can order like a bunch of different types of flavored crusts. Like one of the ones I tried was like a Cajun crust.
Oh, jeez.
But you can also get like more like basic stuff like garlic or Italian seasonings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine.
What's that?
I mean, it was pretty cheap. Like the reason it was on my mind was the ad papers that came in the mail, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cheap. It was like they had some deals for like one topping pizzas for $5.99. I was like, yeah, I'll try that. But like the thing that was kind of amazing was. Maybe amazing in some ways was I also ordered breadsticks and it came with like dipping sauce, like it just said on the container, it said pizza sauce,
Oh,
dipping.
demo discs though from Pizza Hut. Remember
Said,
those? You can get PlayStation 1 demo discs there.
Really?
But
definitely.
But anyway, those. Like
yes,
the pizza sauce that came to dip the breadsticks in smelled so it tasted bad and it smelled bad. Like it was gross. Which like I have no idea if it was the same sauce that was on the actual pizza, but like it was also pretty thin on the pizza, which is actually how I usually prefer it. Like of the primary pizza ingredients, the sauce is definitely my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I would prefer the sauce to be thinner than thicker. I mean, I agree that it needs to be there.
We have now entered our obligatory food talk for the stream.
Yeah.
Whenever it gets past 11 o'clock is when the food talk starts.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer more crusted bread than sauce. or more. I meant
That's level
more cheese, more cheese and more bread / crust than sauce. Like sauce, I never like ask them to go light on the sauce because I want them, I want to be like how they would do it, but yeah, it was I have no idea if it was pizza. I mean, the pizza tasted fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Looks
But
like we got
that I was shocked how bad that, because the marinara sauce that, or whatever you would call it, that you normally get to dip breadsticks in, usually fine. Like, I'm not a huge fan of it, but this was just like, it was just like I like got up from eating and like poured it down the sink and then rinsed out the container because like I didn't want it sitting next to me. Like, I could smell it. It tasted that bad.
Wow, really?
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad sauce. It was really strange. Like, I was just like caught off guard by how bad this was. But the pizza was fine. The breadsticks were fine. But that sauce was bad.
I heard a donation, but really quick, I want to address. I see a hardcore saying, with Coury's move, will a stream next year with John be possible? And absolutely, it will. I'm staying in the same town. I'm moving 2 miles away from where I live now.
To a bigger, better house.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same size, the same square foot, but it's like it's more spread out. It's not vertical like this one is.
Yeah.
And I'll be in the basement instead of in the attic. And it has central air for air conditioning, so it's not gonna get it's not gonna be sweltering hot all summer long, and it has good heating, so it's not gonna be ice cold all winter.
It is cold in your house in the winter.
Yes, I mean, especially with me, since I have been really struggling with the with Raynaud's disease or syndrome or whatever it is, which makes it so that the blood flow to my hands and feet is greatly affected by the cold. So they go like numb.
Yeah, that's not good.
The donation was Ben Brody asking a very, very, very question. Mm-hmm. Olive Garden breadsticks versus Red Lobster biscuits.
Whoa.
I'd say breadsticks.
Yeah, probably. There's biscuits though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's biscuits.
I want to know, are the breadsticks from Olive Garden, are they the same as? I always feel like there's. You ever have breadsticks from Fazoli's?
No.
I don't know if Fazoli's.
I've never had.
Yeah, I mean Fazoli's. I don't even know if it's even around anymore. But the
I think it's
breadsticks are
around,
exactly the same, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
Fazoli's is like fast food Italian, right?
Yes. It's certainly not bad.
I have a hard time imagining that you would get something
either, but
you would get something from fast food that would be as large as an Olive Garden breadstick.
No, I mean they do. They walk around and give them.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're owned by the same company.
Yeah.
But I know it's not a fashionable thing to say, but I freaking like Olive Garden. It's good. Rifle. I like Red Lobster too. Like, my taste in Italian food is not very.
I love that.
Yeah, no, the animation.
What's your key situation like right now?
I'm in area 2 now, but I just got.
Look at your keys. What do you got? Okay. Oh. Okay.
Sorry, I thought I had more too.
The Switch version, and that version helps a lot playing in terms of figuring out where the keys are, because you can see more of the level because of the fog being pulled back. On the PC version, you can use a sort of a command to completely disable the fog, but they didn't do that because it looks terrible.
Yeah. Interesting. So they just
it's a hack you can enable, and there's no fog, but you can see like basically where the borders of things don't connect, and it looks really ugly.
but probably easier to play.
To a degree. There's sort of a sweet spot to find. The fog is part of the visual presentation, I think. Just pushed out a little bit helps, like you have there.
Yeah.
Because you have better spatial awareness.
I don't know if you mentioned this before the stream, but you didn't. I don't know if you mentioned it during the stream, because I saw some people talking about the Doom 64 port, and you said that the same people doing that port did this.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that was like
I am all here for the HD N64 port.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Like a project like that.
I'm here for the HD N64 port. I thought that's what he said. If Fitz said. For a split second.
Not that I would expect them to be able to get their hands on Super Mario 64, but like something like this context that I would possibly trust a Mario 64. Like, you know, something that's trying to stay pretty darn fake.
Bartman 3010 is saying rare replay for Switch when? That would make a lot of sense.
It would make a lot of sense, actually. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility.
I wonder what other Microsoft games we'll see on the Switch.
I know. It's a curious thing. Just the fact that that's even happening, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft's big sort of card that they seem to be playing is like, you know, like, oh, we just want as many people playing games as possible. Like, they're of all the companies, they're very much downplaying like the competitive aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
You would think that would carry over to, you know, the fan bases in gaming, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rare Replay was really good though.
Yeah.
And if they did a Nintendo version, perhaps they could include the Nintendo-related games that weren't allowed in that in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, they probably, the likelihood of them actually making a port of the Xbox 360 games is pretty slim.
Oh, yeah, they might have to.
So maybe they could then include like Donkey Kong Country and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, Bartman recently got the
I still have never tried.
I didn't even get that.
That's a cool
Jet
thing.
Force Gemini.
The changes they made
replay.
are cool.
I need to do that.
Oh, so you bought it, or you probably played like a review or whatever.
I played some of it. It's neat. It is neat. It's rare to see them go back and make adjustments to games in that way, like adjusting how the camera system works. It's like they have like 3 options in the menu, including like.
Wait, what are we talking about?
The Aladdin in the Aladdin Lion King bundle.
Oh yeah.
How they actually went and made changes to the game itself.
Really?
Yeah, so they fixed some layout issues. They changed the camera system and a bunch of other minor tweaks and changes to make it a more pleasant game to play.
Oh, so like the camera doesn't like challenge or something?
It doesn't snap in that weird way that it did originally.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more pleasant.
I get what they were doing with the way the camera moves in that, and like they had the but the execution wasn't quite there because it always is real. Like so many 2D games got made where, you know, you're pushing your characters like near the edge of the screen before it starts scrolling. Like, I just don't know why that happened as often as it did.
Joe Vicentic is asking if we like Giant Bomb's content. I haven't watched it in a long time.
I loved it for a while, but I kind of, I guess I got away from it in the sense that I got so much more into just retro games.
Right.
And so I stopped listening to. I don't really follow other modern coverage, just my own, really.
Right.
Yeah, I one of our good friends, Drumble of the Backlog, is like a huge Giant Bomb. I think that's like how he consumes a whole lot of his
guys do
gaming
good work,
stuff,
though.
and
yeah,
watches their quick looks and stuff
Barman's
like
right
that.
though about that. the Pitfall thing.
What?
I did like a post about the Pitfall version differences like years and years ago.
In their forums?
Yeah, or like on the blog thing that they have. You could see what I would wanted to do with like the DF Retro stuff all the way back then. And I did at least get to make that episode, so I'm happy about that because I love Pitfall.
Oh, apparently my mic is cutting out.
Yeah, every once in a while it does. It's only happened since you built that new computer.
What do you mean?
It happened a little bit last week too.
Well, maybe it's internet problems.
Yeah.
I say yay to Daikatana, but not the stock version.
Look at this dude. He's like, it's your boy. Laying here dead.
Dang, I really enjoyed that interview I did earlier this year with
Is there a duck?
Bill. Oh no! I fell there. Game over. This game is truly cruel at times. You really got to be in the mode.
Yeah. So for everybody wondering, we are hopefully. I mean, I think that there shouldn't be any problem like having our year-end video. I know Trey's got a bit to do, and I got a bit to do.
I'm nervous, but I think tomorrow is going to be a tough day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was up till 5 a.m. working on my stuff because I have to have it finished because I got to start tearing stuff down to move starting tomorrow. So that's my main priority is to after the stream I'm going to be wrapping. Like I'm going to just go back to that and be editing. I just have my last segment to do.
How long are you going to have internet at your existing house?
It turns off the same day as my internet starts at the other place. So it switches over on the 31st. So I can bring the NAS over there and hook it up.
Oh, yeah.
Once we get like the router placed and everything. I mean, they're going to help me do all that stuff.
Okay. Well, I mean, as long as all my synced stuff on there should be fine, but you just need to make sure I have stuff.
Somebody wants to know if we're going to play.
I mean, ideally,
Rage Wars.
I'll be.
What's Rage Wars?
It's Turok Rage Wars, the multiplayer only game.
Is it on N64?
Yeah.
We can play for a minute. We can like wrap it up if you want to.
We should wrap up and play some Rage Wars.
Yeah, who wants? I'll play some Rage Wars.
Ben Brody's asking when we're switching to two-player Mario Tennis. That might be a bit of a.
It is occurring.
Bit outside the theme of this.
It is time.
I'm gonna use this controller.
Aha! People can see what we're playing, and it's all good stuff. There it is. The beep.
After a while,
Is your smoke detector battery almost dead or something?
Yes.
Okay.
I do like the 10-foot cord on this thing though. Let me see if I can put something interesting in the other monitor.
Yeah.
Or I can probably just do this.
There you go.
Oh, let me just turn that. Where is it?
Yeah, the fire department's on the way.
Yes, indeed, there. Oh, I know. Another donation. Why am I not?
That was Ben Brody. The cops are coming. I think I've played Turok Rage Wars before.
Let me just switch the camera here. Can't be there. Oh, real close up on John there. Sorry.
I don't know if there's like a good S-video mod for not. The
we might do some streaming next year.
Yeah, people will be excited about that. Best I can do is do it like that. How about?
That's fine. We got Rage Wars up in here.
Yeah, kill me.
Well, I gotta be Turok, obviously.
I don't know. That's like, I feel like that's like picking Mario in a Mario.
You're like really against that.
Yeah, if you got a chance to play is not Mario in a Mario game, you should. I mean, nothing against Mario, but it's like, come on.
Well, I think so. The question about the PS2 games that support 480p is that PS2 games always use very strange resolutions. So even if they're in progressive scan, it's not like it's necessarily going to be 640 by 480 or whatever like it is on Xbox. So,
sorry.
I mean, the reason you're not seeing a difference, well, I mean, part of it is that on HDTV it's de-interlacing, but I guess it's doing that with other systems as well.
Okay. Good.
How do I choose my?
I mean, I think the difference is noticeable.
No.
I really like how 480p
Right.
looks in Dinosaur.
Stick.
Like that game supports 480p widescreen and runs at 60 frames per second.
I'm trying to. It's not letting me click anything.
No. You press left and right, and then you go all the way down to OK.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize. There we go.
I mean, the S-video mod that Coury bought one like about RGB, and it never really worked right. And he later gave that system to me, and it's just like got all kinds of hot glue and stuff in it. I don't really know if anyone has like developed like a good
there's a brightness option
install or like an optimized board for S-video on the Genesis. I just don't really know if it's any good.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna make the move.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that'd be easier to see. So I'm in the both like at the PVM. It's the brightness. Okay.
Five pretty PS2 games that come to mind. I think just looking, let's see here. I would say Metal Gear Solid 2 looks great. Klonoa 2 looks great. Eco, Silent Hill 3, God of War. You could say Gran Turismo 3. Ridge Racer 5, of course, is gorgeous. Zone of the Enders 2. Valkyrie Profile 2 is great.
Zone of the Enders 2 is a really good looking game.
You can go on and on. There's a lot.
Yeah, I've really gotten into this too. Look, like in the past, like 3
Is this
years.
deathmatch?
Yep.
All right. It's like controls are opposite of what you normally be doing.
This game was not. I don't think. I actually don't know how the dev team in this compares to the previous Turok games.
Oh.
Wow, this is hard to play. The aiming's not very pleasant.
I see somebody, Leak Boy 2K1 is saying Gradius 5. Gradius 5 is a really good looking game.
Yeah, Gradius 5 is gorgeous, yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll get a comment from someone being so happy that I showed Radiata stories.
Oh, Radiata stories? Yeah, that's great too.
I show it all the time because it's like it has like the cleanest visual style of any game on PS2 because it's sort of like flat textures, kind of stylized, and it has 480p widescreen, 60 frames per second. It's just such a clean looking game, and it's like if you're trying to make a comparison, it's so clear to like used to
Basically.
demonstrate something.
You can't really outmaneuver anybody in this. It's like
No, you cannot.
if you get the drop on somebody, whoever starts shooting first is gonna win.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can go sideways, back and forth.
The ultimate deathmatch game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've played this before.
This is
My
not a
friend had it.
phenomenal game or anything. Turok 1, great. Turok 2, pretty good.
What happened to Acclaim? Like
They
I
released too many bad games, and they went out of business. I mean, they I remember when it happened, like they auctioned off all their stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
All
never
their
really
stuff
had a
got
sense
auctioned. I
of
mean,
when they were gone. Like
I want to say like maybe like 2006 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Oh yeah, Soul Calibur 2 and 3, the Tekken games. Man, there's a ton of great looking games on PS2. And a lot of it, oh wow. That was like a time when like Japan developers were like firing on all cylinders and just
Yes.
I feel like Japan is kind of back in the past several years.
Without a doubt.
Because
Oh,
like
yeah.
I feel like
I was just talking. Were we talking about that recently? How they've like really been.
like Japan, I feel like was not prepared for the first HD generation.
No,
Like,
they weren't.
They certainly did a lot of great games, but they were not prepared.
Oh my gosh,
And-
aiming with the N64 stick. This is
Yeah.
no, it's not the N64. It's this game.
Yeah.
The way it plays is terrible. Like the aiming is. Turok 1 much better.
But like increasing, like last gen, I really got much more Western developers than I really ever had been. And like in the past several years, now I'm kind of starting to feel like Western developers are starting to become uninteresting again. And most of what I'm getting excited about is Japanese again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, not that there isn't some Western stuff.
The glob of
I'm looking
blood.
forward to playing, but
Glove of blood.
still, yeah. I also like how the Silent Hill games look. I like how I really like how horror games look on PC. It's like that system just has like the right texture for horror to me.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
it's just obscured enough. Like it's resolution, like something about like even compared to like game or Xbox, something about PS2 just has like a nice grit
Yeah.
for horror.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I was saying to you last night because I talk about Resident Evil 7 a little bit in the video. Just like the first hour of that game is horrifying. Even if you know what's going to happen, it's still pretty scary. Like the tension is good. And even though it becomes very like shooty at the end, which is expected. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll always become. I mean, it wouldn't be Resident Evil in
Good
any
shoot bang.
Yeah, and it's always nice when get like some like machine gun or something to use on
Yeah.
enemies, but the first hour is like the tension is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't talk
It's a
about it
great
very much
game.
because there's not a lot left to really talk about in terms of Resident Evil. I just talked about how it is just like so like has such a dirty feel to it. Makes me think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I feel is like the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
I can't wait for you to
rock
play
that.
I know.
Resident Evil 2 remake.
I know. I
I'm
gotta
gonna
play
try
that.
So good. So good.
Oh.
How does 480i look to this?
Oh, it looks pretty good.
Oh.
I mean, we're gonna get. Oh, I mean, look at that
We
though.
get it looks good on the CRT with
Like the 30 frames though. It's like.
they get bad combing artifacts, but it's much clearer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like that's. Makes a big difference, honestly.
Oh, you're on high res?
Yeah. You can actually see what's happening now.
You know, I've never tried high res. Never really checked out like current Ultra HDMI firmware, but like there's two there, or at least there were. I don't know if he ever changed it, but there's two modes, and I feel like I could always see combing on both modes.
Okay. You alright, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm just waiting. I'm just gonna stand here and wait until you're ready.
I coughed up a little bit of mucus and it went to the back of my throat, and now it's like,
Oh gosh!
Don't you wish you were here, everyone?
I don't get sick that often. I mean, it's been a while.
I know.
It's been a while. A couple years, so. I mean, there's 2 episodes where I definitely had colds in it, and there's like the Game Boy and
Game Boy.
And the what? GameCube
Yeah, I
and
think it's
Game Boy,
GameCube
yeah.
and Game Boy, yeah. Such a shame. Game Boy of all episodes.
Yeah. Jeez, sorry about that.
It's
Everyone.
getting worse again.
It is.
Man,
It just like
that
hitting the
sucks.
back.
I don't think
My throat's
Turok
starting
Rage
to feel
Wars is
tickly
helping.
as well.
What's that?
I said I'm starting to feel a bit of a tickle again.
It's weird. I don't know what it is. Whatever. It's less.
Turok Rage Wars,
Oh, well,
not the best
This
medicine.
is why you're selling your house.
Yeah, maybe. You fragged me. Oh, you fragged me.
Is 10 minutes the default?
I guess so.
Like, can you imagine someone wanting to play a round of this for 10 minutes?
Can you imagine, like...
Isn't this better than GoldenEye, though? Is anybody there?
I wonder how many copies this game sold.
Not many. There's a very rare variant of it, though. The gray cartridge version.
Oh, is
Really?
it normally black?
So it shipped black, but I believe there was some kind of nasty bug in the original version, and I don't know how bad the bug was, but you could actually like contact a claim and like ship it in to get a replacement cartridge, and the replacement was just a gray cartridge.
Really?
So it's an updated version, but very few people actually did that, so it's very, very rare. Hey, Try, can you actually see what the stream looks like with the combing artifacts? Does it look bad on stream?
I can't see it. I don't think I'm quite at full resolution anyway. On stream, it looks fine, I would say. I mean, as fine as this game could look.
For the record, some Leak Boy saying my life in flu shots. I did get a flu shot. I was the only person in my family to get a flu shot this year.
This isn't the flu, though.
It's not the flu. It's just a cold.
You're pretty much over it. You just have that cough left.
Yeah.
It's because you stayed up till 5 a.m. last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about
Hopefully-
that video editing lifestyle often
Yeah.
involves late nights and like very, very, very long days.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
I sacrifice myself for videos.
But I mean,
Yeah.
ideally, we won't have to do that once we get into our new...
Yeah,
work
I mean, I'm sure there will be time. The goal is to, like, 90% of the time to live pretty normal work hours. But I'm
Yeah.
sure there will be days where, it's like, well, you got to commit.
Yeah.
Which, it's probably tomorrow.
I feel like I'm fighting the Master Chief just based on your colors. It's like playing some Halo here.
It's like a bug version of them.
Yeah, can we add bots directly? No. After this round.
Yeah. Bullets. I got some bullets.
Antidote is what you could use. Antidote bullets.
Yeah, one of my coworkers got at my old job, got the flu 2 years in a row, even though she had the flu
Why am I
shot.
moving so slow? I wonder.
Oh, because I got the slow move power up.
She just had some bad luck, I guess.
Wait, what did she get? She got a flu shot and
Well,
got a flu?
She got a flu 2 years in a row. She got the flu shot and got the flu.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, but
Finally. So did you know what I was talking about when I was saying bullets? Bullets.
Yeah, Zombie Revenge.
Yeah.
oh, so you
Did you know it?
That
Or did we talk
required
about it
no
before?
I know it. I
explanation?
love that game.
Yeah. Bullets. Bullets.
like that was like 2 years ago that we streamed that. And still say,
Thank you, Turok.
wasn't it New Year's Eve
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yep.
Bullets. Zombie Revenge is tough. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it is.
Surprisingly tough. Can you?
Yeah.
How do you get bots here?
Okay, so we're doing the proving grounds.
Do you know how to add bots, or can you do it like at the beginning?
I was already sick too. I mean, we got a cold at the same time. I just didn't get as bad of a cough.
Did you add bots?
Well, I did the proving grounds thing. So I think that's a bot.
All the bots are Turok. Or are you Turok?
I'm Turok.
Okay.
And you're the... Stop. Wait, are we... No, we're just like shooting the bots now.
Yeah.
I don't know about Coury and John, but I have played World Is Not Enough on N64.
Is it good? Is it? It's not
I
enough.
liked.
Or...
Huh?
Sorry, with the leg of the conversation, I kept cutting you off. Please tell us about that game.
I liked it when it came out, but every time I've tried to play it since, it's like, ooh, that's kind of rough. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a Eurocom game.
Yeah, I think so.
Did they do Tomorrow Never Dies also?
I don't think so.
It's funny though that like EA was on that Bond license as soon as GoldenEye.
I remember liking Everything or Nothing from EA.
Yeah, well, they got into when they started doing like original stories.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I want to give that game another try. I own the GameCube version, but I never finished it.
There was a time
it was pretty interesting. I don't remember why I
where
stopped
EA
playing.
made lots of great games.
Yeah.
Was
the other one? Bloodstone, was that
my
one?
favorite?
That was
my favorite story about the World Is Not Enough game actually has nothing to do with playing the game, and it was. I think I've told this story before, but
yes, I might.
in high school when the World Is Not Enough, like when the movie came out.
Continue.
I in German class, me and my friends, like we're calling it Die Welt ist nicht genug, because we knew just enough German words to translate that title into German, and we just thought that was a funny sounding title. We're like, Die Welt ist nicht genug. We just kept saying it, and then when we actually went to Germany,
yes, I do.
For my high school did a spring break trip. You could go to Europe for a pretty decent price, and we went to. Actually, I don't think we were in Germany. We were either in Switzerland or Austria, I think, at the time. But we went inside a store and saw the N64. The World Is Not Enough, and it said on the box, Die Welt ist nicht genug, and we just freaked out because we couldn't believe we actually came up with a real title. We did not have very much confidence in German skills, so we didn't think that anything we came up with would actually be the title they would.
That's awesome, actually.
Die Welt ist nicht genug. I saw we got another donation from 7 Kurgan. 777 is his custom.
Rookie number 7.
And he's asking, John, With the PS2 20th anniversary around the corner, are you going to do a deep analysis vid on the PS2 hardware, such as the Jaggies? Oh, I mean field rendering.
I would like to. That would be fun.
I can't believe the PS2 is going to be 20 years old.
I know, it's crazy.
It's really crazy.
I feel ancient.
Did you buy your PS2 launch day?
I tried. I actually camped out with a friend in line, but the line was so long, I ended up just missing it. So I got it like a month later.
Oh, wow. I was only able to get it at launch because I worked at the store and there was one left over after the midnight launch.
There was none at the store I was at.
I always have a hard time remembering what March, the Japanese launch or the U.S.
That
launch?
was March. That was Japanese.
Then when was the U.S. launch?
October 26th, 2000.
Okay. So I got mine. I got mine in August 01. So it was
the
less
Euro
than
launch then was in 2001. So that actually some months later, I think.
Honestly, the whole Jaggy thing, especially in retrospect, when you think about how people were playing these games on CRTs where, you know, Jaggies weren't even as noticeable as they are on like kinds of TVs we're using today. Like, and to think about how much people complained about back then.
Like a sub 720p like PS3 game is gonna look a lot more jagged than a PS2 game.
Yeah, like I look at PS2 on CRT now, and I'm just like, it's beautiful. Like, I just can't believe people were complaining about it back then. Like,
I like that we don't even shoot at each other.
Well, the main
something
thing
about the crispness of PS2 is just like really appeling to me.
So yeah, so one of the things that
Xbox.
PS2 games rarely do is most of the other systems had like a flicker filter forced on them, which people would call anti-aliasing, but it really wasn't. It was literally just a filter, and you could do it on PS2. The developers had to implement it. It wasn't like across the board. But so you would either get less noticeable flickering or you would get like a blurrier looking image. And over time, I've kind of grown to prefer the more flicker, like not using flicker filtering.
I agree. Like one game that comes to mind is Xenosaga Episode 3.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very pretty game. But I rarely use it for like any comparisons or anything like that because like that, I feel like that filter like detracts away from like the point I'm trying to make with a comparison, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of a weird one in that sense. What the heck? How's he keep doing that?
I don't know.
But yeah, I think the thing is though, is PS2 looks really good on like a high line count PVM. It's got a very, very sharp look to it.
Yeah.
And it loses a lot of that on like a low rent CRT over composite.
Yeah.
So
do you feel like the PS2 is the most interesting console hardware?
It's one of them. There's probably others that are great too, but
I mean,
up
like
there for me.
Okay, that's kind of what I meant. Like, what do you think is the most interesting? What do you think is the most interesting to learn about?
I mean, I love like the Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's really interesting, like some of the weirder ones, like how 32X worked, or like the 3DO, just because they're all like unconventional designs with weird quirks. That kind of stuff is cool. PS3 is interesting as well. Actually, that's a good point.
Speaking of Saturn hardware, you know, I feel like this didn't really happen until like this past year, but there have been like a couple of comments on the Saturn video, like people getting very angry that you would insinuate that Sega made changes to the hardware out of fear of the PS1. And I mean, that's what people always say. To be honest, I don't know how true it is, but we believed it to be true enough to say in that script.
Yeah,
I think I've actually seen comments that I can't remember, like in some interview or somewhere where like somebody referenced like old documents going back to like internal Sega communications that suggested that that was slightly the case, where they were trying to react and change their hardware.
Right. Like, I think some people are taking the comment that we made in that video to imply that like the Saturn was going to have no 3D capabilities until they like that wasn't what we were implying at all. But I definitely, as far as I know, there seems to be enough evidence to supply there was at least some reactive element in the design.
Yeah, I think there was. Oh, don't want to go there.
The flare gun does.
Which again always surprises me because, you know, obviously Sony turned into this, you know,
like such a stupid looking character.
Bad design.
Sony turned into this, you know, pretty big deal in the game industry. But like before the PlayStation came out, like what evidence was there that this was going to be a big deal? You know,
Yeah. Especially because so many other.
I'm surprised Sega cared.
Yeah, it's very odd.
But at the same time, maybe it's because Sega
like
never had a full grasp on the market, so they felt like they couldn't, you know, they couldn't take any risk of not being more powerful or as powerful as they could.
I think it's more like the N64 hardware is really interesting to me because it has so much potential, but there was a few decisions made that really handicapped it. Like the
I mean, obviously the texture, the amount of space they have for textures.
Yeah, the 4 kilobyte cache was a huge problem. I mean, that so much would have changed. Also, the sound hardware decisions. Although talking to Chris Hulsbeck about it, you know, with his music system, you could do some amazing stuff with the N64.
I mean, as far as I understand, like N64 does not really have right? It's all software driven.
For sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically you either program your own or use some, you know, something that's available. And so your sound is eating into your frame rate and other resources, right?
Wow, wait, hold on. Lee Boy has a Hikaru board. That was an interesting one.
Is that for the PC or something?
No, I think Hikaru was used for like games like Brave Firefighters. It was like a slightly enhanced Dreamcast board, if I remember. There was a bunch. There was between Naomi and Naomi 2. I can't remember if that was the board that Planet Harriers used, or if that was a different one that might.
Have you ever played Planet Harriers?
Yeah, sure. It's great.
Is it? I mean, I've never played it.
It's different, but I like it. I think it's cool.
I've never played it. You know, I don't know if you've ever played the arcade version, but the GameWorks down the street from here has Afterburner Climax.
That's right. I've played that. That's really good.
Yeah, it's just like the whole machine moves.
Do they still have the test pilot thing that Yu Suzuki did? That one like triple screen game?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know he did he did a flying game.
Or maybe not necessarily Yu Suzuki. I think it was AM2.
I mean, I just know like the Ferrari F35.
It uses the same kind of cabinet.
It had like the 3 screens.
That was a fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like the N64 sound. I mean, a lot of times, you know, some games I think sound cleaner than Super Nintendo. Like I know there's no dedicated hardware there, but
they certainly could.
It could sound clean.
And also again the music system, like if you listen to Resident Evil 2, like the N64 version sounds nearly as good or possibly better than the PS1 version. Chris found a way to basically duplicate that whole sample base or the system from that version of the game.
Wait, Chris Hulsbeck did Resident Evil 2 N64?
Yes.
What?
I covered that in my N64 video. Or sorry, the Resident Evil 2 video.
Maybe I didn't see the whole thing. I know.
he created the MuseX system, and he worked with Angel Studios to help them figure out how to do the sound.
Wow.
So he was involved in translating the sound over.
Wow.
So
I knew I
really
watched that
letting you down
video.
today,
So
I think.
either
We're really letting you down.
Right.
It's not. I mean,
So
That's
one of the
crazy.
things that I've noticed here on this game is that the feel of Turok 1 and 2 is just gone.
yeah.
Like those kind of have like a momentum and the camera sway.
And this is just
And
like very.
this is
start
like
and stop.
super stiff.
Yeah.
It feels terrible compared to those games. This isn't really very good, is it?
The Hikaru board was used in the arcade version of Pod Racer.
Oh
So you're saying-
yeah.
which
Pod
is
Racer
like
as
such
well.
an awesome version.
Dude, that was so good.
And it was so cool also just because they had like the whole sit down and it like functioned like the like a real one would have if they existed.
Yeah, and he's right. The studio that did the RE2 port did go on to become. They did like Max Payne 3. They did like Midtown Madness
really?
and stuff. But the people that did RE and RE2 64 was it was only like 7 people or something.
Really? They did Max Payne 3?
Yeah.
Or
Eventually,
I mean,
like they
some of
worked on
people
the
did.
team. Yeah.
Man, Max Payne 3 I think I would love to have seen like a current gen remaster of that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Because it's such a gorgeous game. It's fun to play.
Yeah, I like it.
And it just like has this like heaviness to it, which is not something that the first two really had.
It's true.
Because they were all about leaping through the air, but this had like a heaviness to it, but also had the slow motion and like the finesse of the first two.
That's
I don't know if this would possibly be an idea for the future, but before Coury got Turok, I was suggesting that y'all should play Max Payne PS2 versus Xbox.
that's a good one
Yeah, I mean Xbox version is the one they have.
for consoles. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I love the first one especially, but 2 and 3 and like 3 is so good, even though like I don't like the design of him or what
Right.
they did, but it made sense within the story of like why it went in that direction. You looking to see if you see any familiar names.
I'm really curious about this idea of could Street Fighter Third Strike have been done in Saturn with a large RAM cart? I really don't know, actually. I wonder. I mean, possibly? I don't know. I'd have to ask.
How expensive would that RAM card have been though?
So RAM carts in Saturn really aren't great, are they? Like, it's very finicky, the cart port. Specifically just with the RAM carts I found. Like remember when we did that SNK video together?
Yeah.
If you watch the TV behind me, at some point, I just had the Saturn running with like Samurai Shodown 3. And at some point, all the main sprites just disappear from the rolling demos.
Really?
It's because it just lost contact with the RAM card.
So is that's not something that needed like the 1 meg RAM card? And
It did. It required the 1 meg RAM card. I was using a 4 meg, but at first it was running fine, and then like the connection came loose, and everything that used the RAM cart basically disappeared. So the main character sprites just disappeared.
There's a question.
There's a $2 donation from For the Love of the Game asking if we've seen
you.
Pandemonium Saturn interviews.
No, that sounds interesting.
What is
I
that?
love Saturn interviews.
So sorry, anyone, if I a bit behind on the
That's okay. We're just kind of
on
rambling.
the donations and other comments tonight. It was hard to keep up. Y'all went crazy tonight.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's always good. I feel like these streams always deliver.
Oh yeah.
Well, so I guess this is it. This is the final
That's it.
stream from that house.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Last
It's
time
after
you'll-
midnight.
It is. I would keep going, but the thing is, I got to finish
You got work
my
to do.
last segment for the
Yeah.
year-end video that I have to
And
try to finish tonight because we close on the house tomorrow, and I guess I could technically work on it tomorrow night if I needed to.
Yeah.
If it came down to it, but I don't know how long or how late we're going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to be distracted with all kinds of business you're going to be doing there, so you need to get
Yeah,
me
I mean,
like,
we're gonna start
absolutely as much
painting.
as possible.
like clean the carpets tomorrow, and then we start moving in on.
Yeah.
This.
I'm going to try to get a good night's sleep so I can get this done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks for everyone crazy with the donations. Thank you so much. I think, I mean, you brought in all those donations. People were...
I don't think so. You guys put on an amazing stream every time.
Thanks.
It was always fun. I wish I could watch more of them live, but time zones.
Yeah.
It's like
sense.
6 a.m. here in Germany right now.
Ugh. But yeah, thanks for joining us again. We always have a fun time.
Yeah, the last stream in this room.
Yeah, it's what
Next year it'll be the new place.
Yeah, hopefully it's gonna be as roomy and easy to set up. I mean, not that this was easy to set up, but maybe I can work it out in a way that's I don't have to pull out cables from all these places.
Yeah,
to make it work.
Exactly. Cool.
But yeah, it is kind of sad. Like I'll be
end of an era.
Yeah, 5 years. 5 years. The stream started in this room, and let's see what the next step is.
Well, the first step is moving your OLED without cracking it.
I know. I'm terrified about that, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens.
We'll make it work.
I think it's gonna be real cool. I think it's gonna be cool how it works out. And
are you recruited to help move that OLED, John?
Yeah,
I've done it before, so
yeah, he's done it at a much greater distance. So I feel
it's only 3 miles. This is easy.
Yeah, it's only 2 miles. Actually.
2 miles. Okay, even better.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a little nervous about it, but John, you said you went like 45 minutes on the highway.
Yep.
With one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what kind of things I unearth emptying all this stuff out of here. I'll probably find a lot of stuff that I've lost any hope of finding previously. I'm like, oh, I can really use this. Or remember when I needed this and then I spent money to buy a replacement for it.
At least you didn't lose your Mountain Dew N64
That's
controller.
right. That's
Look at
right.
That.
That's the urine colored Mountain Dew. That's like after having you used to have these morning shakes. They had like all your vitamins and stuff
the
for
next day. Oh no, that kind of shake.
All your vitamins for the day, and it's it's like it's all plant based. And then when you go pee later on, it's like the same color as that.
Oh yeah. That's yep.
So, anyways,
that's a topic for another day.
That's a topic for another day. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Thanks again. Thanks to everybody who hung out, and I'll be on stream next week. I might be on my laptop. I might not be. We're gonna see what happens, but it'll be a different background.
All right.
See everyone later.
Some golf.
Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I'll stream from that room.
Oh yeah.
With the golf background.
Yes, you have to.
I guess I should just say real quick. So the people who were buying the house from really liked golf, and there's a room in the house that is. It has a mural. It's it's a photograph, and it's
a photo mural on the wall.
Yeah, it takes up the entire wall of one of the rooms. It's gonna be the guest room when we're done with it, but it's a golf course, tee off.
I think you need to get like a giant printout of Fred Couples to glue on there.
That'd be amazing. If I can sit in front of that and be like, I'm just hanging out on the golf course.
You need to do
links.
like a stream of everybody's golf VR with
in
that
front
as your
of that
background.
I know it's like we're going to do something to that wall eventually, but it'd be stupid to take it down without actually filming something in front of it.
Or open up a second YouTube channel, My Life in Golf.
Yeah, and I can talk about how much I know about golf, which is nothing, basically. But we'll see. Maybe that's what I'll do next week.
All right.
I don't know what just happened to the demo. All right. See everybody next week.
Yep.
Take care.